Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to another Watch Along here on the Rock and Roll Rugby channel, where this evening it is round 4 of the Guinness Pro 14 Rainbow Cup between Munster and the Cardiff Blues. We've got just over half an hour until kick-off now, so a little bit of time just to catch up, have a little chat, and talk about some of the stuff prior to the game this evening. Obviously, a little bit of bad news. Yesterday, we received the news that the Elsta versus Scarlett game has been cancelled due to the fact that there are 4 positive cases of COVID within the Elsta squad. So unfortunately, that game has been cancelled, and due to the fact that there is no room left in the calendar whatsoever for the game to be rescheduled, the Scarlets have automatically been awarded 4 points. So the table hasn't been updated yet, but effectively the Scarlets have picked up a win for that, what would have been that game against Ulster. Unfortunate, obviously, Jake Ball would have been one of his last games at the Scarlet. I think it would have been his last game, as a matter of fact, because the tributes coming through on Twitter suggesting that it's unlikely that he'll play again. So not the way he would have wanted to go, but I'm sure very, very happy memories that he would have had from his time down at the Scarlet, especially as this week was I think it was the 5 years ago that they won they won the league in emphatic style against Munster, funnily enough, out in Ireland. So be interesting to see tonight if the Blues can do something similar. So let's get into that game this evening then between Munster and the Cardiff Blues. It's been a tough time as of late for the Blues against their Irish opposition. We went out there earlier on this season, around October time, and it was a real interesting game. It was very back and forth. And it wasn't until later on in the game when Munster really started to pull away and make their mark on that game. But the Blues were definitely in it for long periods during that game. And then obviously they came down to the Arms Park a few months ago, back in February, and managed to hang on there for the narrowest of victories, but it wasn't the prettiest game to watch. So let's hope that this evening there's a little bit of free flow in rugby and there's a lot of excitement, because there's a lot of players on this team list that we're going to be very, very excited to talk about this evening. So let's have a quick look through the teams and let's look at where we think this game could be won or lost. So if I just put that up there. Okay, so the lineups for this evening are as follows. So we'll start with the front rows first. So for the Munster boys, we've got James Cronin, Niall Scannell and Stephen Archer in the front row. Regular front row and very comfortable front row for the Irish province. On the Blues side, we've got Corey Domachowski, Christian Dacey, and Dylan Lewis. Now, for me, I don't know about if there's any Blues fans down in the chat. I think this is one of our most balanced front rows I think we can put out at the moment in terms of scrummaging ability around the pitch. I think this is a really, really nice looking front row. Domachowski really needs to get in and amongst it now, because he's got so much potential, and I think it's about time he started putting his hand up for further honours. Christian Dacey in the middle will bring experience and guidance throughout the game, and he'll definitely give us the front football we need, along with Dylan Lewis, who will hopefully be getting back within international contention in the summer for Wales. Be playing all right since he came back, but he will hope to be doing better as the weeks go on. In the locks then, for Munster, they've got the Giants in Jean Klein and Fineen Willacelli. Two big ball. John Klein especially, big line-up forward, big ball winner for them. The Blues will definitely have to be on their money with their lineouts tonight, with their second rows of Seb Davis and Corey Hill. A well-established second row now, especially in recent weeks. I think this is the third game that Seb and Corey have started together in the second row. So there's becoming that familiarity. And I think that's one thing that this team does say to me, because I was reading one of Dai Young's interviews, and he said that he's really going to go for this game. He's going to attack it, and he's really going to try and get a win out of it. So I'm hoping that it's very much going to be the case that that we can get the win this evening. And I think in terms of like looking at a settled 15, I think Seb and Corey going forward are definitely going to be the option that Dai looks to in terms of being athletic, ball winning forwards, but at the same time they can get around the park and they can make things happen in other areas of the pitch. In the back rows for Munster, we have Jack O'Donoghue, Tommy O'Donnell and CJ Stander, the man who has announced his retirement from international rugby and will be leaving Munster at the end of the season to return to South Africa. A lot of controversy about that this week, whether he actually would, and there's a few whispers that he might have been asked to stay potentially. but nothing has come to fruition with that yet. Still just rumours at this moment in time. But a really nice looking back row. Tommy O'Donnell, lovely player, fantastic. He's had troubles with injuries in the past, but I think he really is a cracking player. And it's just another one of these back rowers that keep coming out from Munster and Leinster. The Irish Promises, they love producing these quality back rowers. Looking at the Blues back row then, we've got Josh Turnbull. James Botham returns to the starting lineup with James Ratty at 8. Josh Turnbull, I think he's in the best form of his life at the minute. And the fact that he's so flexible, he can change across positions in the back row. We've seen him play at 6, we've seen him play at 7, 8. We've seen him play in the second row as well. Excuse me. So it's interesting now that he's Young sees him maybe as a 6. Who knows in time. But I think James Ratty at 8, since that move has been made to move in from the lock out to number 8, I think he's really put his hand up. He carried so well the last time out against the Scarlets, really punching holes. And I think that's one thing the Blues have been missing, a number 8 who's got the impetus to carry and make yards from the base of rucks, scrums, even off line-out ball. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes tonight. Obviously, James Botham is back in the lineup now. Got a little bit unlucky towards the end of the Six Nations with Wales, but it's nice to see him back now and nice to see him wearing the blue of Cardiff, ready to take on Munster this evening. The battle at halfback is going to be a very, very interesting one tonight. Munster have gone with Craig Casey and Joey Carberry. I think this is only Joey Carberry's 3rd or 4th game since coming back from a long-term injury. So he's really starting to find some form now, and he's really starting to put his hand back up to get back into that Irish side setup, considering that without Johnny Sexton, there doesn't seem to be a standout 10 option at the moment. So if he can put his hand up, definitely, why not him? And Craig Casey, the little pocket rocket, capped against Italy during the Six Nations, and he will add pace and he will add impetus to this Munster attack. But for the Blues, loving this halfback pairing this evening, Thomas Williams and Jared Evans. Thomas Williams just adds so much zip to the Blues attack. I think against the Scarlets last time out, the phase play for the Blues, they were causing the Scarlets so many problems because his speed of ball from the base of rucks, from line-up balls, always looking to attack, always looking for options. And of course, with Jared Evans outside him, why not? Because Jared Evans last time out, his passing game was exquisite, managing to find players in those outside channels, managing to link up with his midfielders, which, again, is another feature that I think I can see within Young's planning of what he likes. But great halfback pairing for the Blues, and great to see how they're going to get on this evening. Then we move on to the back fives. So on the wings for Munster, we've got Shane Daly and Andrew Conway. Andrew Conway, the stalwart of this Munster side, and he will bring much needed experience and pace on those wings. Then we've got, for the Blues, we've got Jason Harries on the one wing, who was superb against the Scarlets, coming in and looking for work. And he's definitely going to have to do that tonight to try and exploit this Munster midfield. But of course, we've got the British and Irish Lion, Josh Adams, obviously linked up with the squad earlier this week. A lot of stuff around that on social media. But great to see he's going to get one last run out for the Blues this evening prior to that link up with the British and Irish Lion squad. I'm hoping that he goes well this evening. Midfield is an interesting one for me. So for Munster, we've gone with Rory Scannell and Damien Dialende, the South African World Cup winner. Will he play a part in this Lion series in the summer? I think so, definitely. Since he's come to Munster, took him a couple of games to find his feet, but he certainly has added a little bit of stardust to this team, and he really does lift them in times in games where they find themselves a little bit down and out. But on the opposite side, we've got a little bit more youth, you would say, almost, in Ben Thomas. I think 12 is probably the position that Young sees him moving forward. He offers that second ball player option, and he allows that chance there for Jared to run as maybe a decoy runner from time to time and bring Ben in as first receiver. I love that thought process with Willis Halaholo outside him, who defensively proved for the Six Nations that he can match up to absolutely anything coming his way. But we'll be hoping to see those dancing feet of his and hoping that he can make a few line breaks during the game this evening. And then looking at the two fullbacks, we've got Mike Haley for Munster and then Hallam Amos for the Blues. Both very good under the high ball. Hallam Amos, we saw a little bit more of his attacking game last time out against the Scarlets, and I think that's what we miss. The Hallam Amos of old from the Dragons. He was very much a player that loved that counter attack, running down those 15-meter channels and trying to exploit wider out defenses. And then just quickly, we'll have a little look through the benches. So we'll go through the Munster replacements. So we've got Diramoon Barron, Jeremy Luffman, Keenan Knox, Gavin Coombs, Mick McCarthy, Peter O'Mahony, Sorry, I missed one there. So Gavin Coombs, sorry. Peter O'Mahony, the British and Irish Lion, captain from the first test in 2017. Nick McCarthy, Jack Crowley, and Jack O'Sullivan. So he's gone with a little bit of youth on the bench there, giving them some experience then in this test arena, in this competition arena, sorry. And then for the Blues, we've got Liam Belcher, Rhys Carey, and Dimitri Ahit returning from injury. Great to see him on the bench. And we've got Rory Thornton, Ollie Robinson, the turnover specialist, Lloyd Williams, Harry Millard, who played really well when he came on against the Scarlett. And if it becomes an open game later on, if both sides decide to go for it, Matthew Morgan, look out for him coming off that bench to cause Munster all sorts of problems with his unpredictability in his game. So there are the two teams, and we're very much looking forward to this one kicking off. We've got just over 20 minutes now until the game starts. But obviously, we were announced this week that the final of the Rainbow Pro 14 Cup between the North and the South will be played in Treviso. Rather interesting decision there, considering they're talking about sides travelling back and forth. I think at the moment, you're looking at the sides that could potentially be there. And regardless of whatever way you look at it, somebody's going to have to travel there. The South Africans are going to have to travel up. And the sides from the UK, whether that be a Scottish province, an Irish province, or a Welsh province, they're going to have to travel over to Italy. Considering that the Italian sides are actually going to be coming up against their more tougher opposition then in their Welsh, Scottish, and Irish counterparts in coming weeks, then I don't see it being an Italian side in the final myself, so it involves somebody travelling. But who knows? We've got a few more rounds to play out now. So this is the Blues' last but one game, and then they finish up with a game against Zebre at home in the next round next weekend. But interesting to see how this is going to go. Sean O'Farrell, welcome into the stream, buddy. It was announced today that one of the test events for fans will be Leinster Dragons in the RDS next week. Leinster will be away to Glasgow. I'm liking the fact that we're seeing more fans coming back into sport now. I was watching the football last weekend. I was watching Newport County on Sunday. Fans back in there, and it looks really, really good. The balance, obviously, is going to be difficult of getting people back in the mix. Like fans from both sides, because, obviously, so it's actually going to become really difficult now where fans are starting to be reintroduced, but it's only going to be fans from one way because the travelling is still not crystal clear how that can happen yet, but interesting. Welcome in Connor Crowley. I don't think I've noticed that name before, so welcome in. Munster will win. It's an interesting one. Munster, both sides have got nothing left this season to play for now. Munster have gone with a pretty experienced team, a team that I think I've seen them use a lot in Pro 14 games. I think the Blues have just got to try and take their chances where they can, and to avoid the rugby cliches, I think the Blues have just got to stay in the fight. Because, especially at Thomond Park, if you fall 1 score, 2 scores behind, can start to become a little bit of a daunting task. And with this Munster pack, who, my gosh, if they give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So it's really important for the Blues tonight to make sure that they metaphorically stay in the fight and they put as much pressure as they can on and make Munster play some rugby, because the Blues, they're not going to go out there just to defend tonight. They're going to go out there to play. They've picked a side that can play and attack. So I think that they are going to go out there to try and throw some things at Munster. Dai Young, he said that, we're going to attack this game, as I mentioned earlier on. We're going to attack it. We want to try and win it. We want to break our Limerick duck, as it were, then. So it'd be interesting to see how it goes. I don't think they'll go too conservative early on. I think they'll try and catch Munster napping. And I get a feeling Munster will try and do the same back to the Blues as well. So really looking forward to how that manifests itself in the game. Springbok squad will be announced on the 5th of June, and it's a 45-man squad. I'm subscribed to a sports channel for SA Rugby, etc. 45-man squad. Wow, that's a big one, considering now for players within the sort of the Lions squad setup. Then this is sort of the culmination of their season now. Once the Lions series is done, they'll go back home. They'll have their rest periods from their clubs. And then we'll get back into pre-season then later on in the summer. But for South Africa, this is very much the springboard for them, because obviously they're going back into the Rugby Championship this year. They're playing against the All Blacks and against South Africa. So great to see that they're back involved in that competition, because I think that they need that. And I think for South African rugby, they've missed that in the last few years. Australia and New Zealand have played each other a few times, and obviously the Six Nations has gone ahead. We've had the Rainbow Cup and things like that. But in terms of international rugby, South Africa have been deprived for quite some time now. Obviously, not playing a game since the World Cup final back in 2019. So they're going to need game time. They're going to need exposure, and it's interesting to see. With a 45-man squad, I think I've seen a lot of people putting up on Twitter who their starting lineups are and players coming off the bench. But like we mentioned, this is sort of a long-term thing for the South Africans because they've got to consider they've got a rugby championship to play after this. So, for example, if they 2-0 up in the test series, they can start to bring more players through. A couple of players I've seen so far from the Rainbow Cup look really, really exciting. The winger from the Bulls, I forget his name now, but he looked fantastic against the Sharks when I watched that a few weeks back. So I know that there's a few players that are on the cusp. Well, if it's a 45-man squad, then they could well make that squad. Good evening, Richard. Hope you're well, but it is going to be a great game, I think. And I'm glad that Dai Young has picked a side that's going to go out and attack. I think it could look a little, it's quite close to how his team, I think, will shape up for next season. I think Ben Thomas is fundamental in that backline. I think he is going to play a big role as the weeks and months go on for the Blues now. Whether he plays 10 or 9, obviously, because Jared's going to end up going away for a few weeks whilst Wales take part in their summer series then. So I think he'll play a massive role in that, Jared Evans. And I think it's his time now to sort of put his hand up and say, look, I want to be second in command to Biggar. And even push Biggar, because, I think in terms of his attacking game, he probably has a little more to offer when he's on the money than Biggar in terms of his attacking game. But I think he still has to learn a lot in terms of his all-round game, his kicking ability and things like that. But I know these are things that he has been working on within Welsh camp. A lot of talk from Neil Jenkins saying that he's really impressed with how much Jared has grown as a player. So it'd be really nice to see him get some game time in the red jersey for Wales in the summer. And push Callum Sheedy, because obviously Callum Sheedy riding a wonderful wave at the minute with the Bristol Bears as they move towards the playoffs in the Premiership. But Jared, he's got to put his hand up, and again, using the analogy, twice within 10 minutes, he's got to stay in that fight for that 10 jersey and not get disheartened, because he's in a good place. He's just signed a new contract with the Blues, so he can get his head down and focus on his rugby now and getting himself into those positions. But before we get into any more rugby talk, thank you very much for joining this evening. If you are just joining us, we are going to be watching the Munster versus Cardiff Blues game out in Thomond Park in Limerick. Unfortunately, due to the game being shown on Premier Sport, I cannot broadcast the game for copyright reasons. This will just be a watch along, but I will give you up-to-date commentary as I'm watching the game, and we can watch it together. Or if you are unable to watch the game, then obviously I can let you know as things are happening and what is happening within the game. But before, we've got a little bit of time now. We've got just over 10 minutes before the game kicks off. The coverage doesn't even start until 5 minutes before kickoff. So it's going to be not a lot of build-up. But yeah, we got 5 minutes before kickoff. So the game will start at around 25 to 8. So we're just over 10 minutes from now. But that gives you a little bit of time. So what I wanted to do, if you haven't done so already, because I know that there are a lot of you, the subscribers are flying through the roof at the moment, guys. I'm so grateful for it. When I last checked this afternoon before coming on, we're on 73 subscribers now. And obviously I set my first goal, trying to get to 50 by the time this Lions series started. Well, that's come and gone now. I couldn't believe it. So we're looking now to the next target. And that target is to see if we can get to 100 subscribers by the end of the Lion series. So I would love if you guys could help me to do that. It's been a difficult couple of weeks, obviously, because I've had things with work, etc. So back onto the grind now. I've got half term, so I'm going to get my head down. I've got some lovely video ideas coming up that I'm going to get put in. And I've got a couple of people I'd like to work with to do some videos on as well. So all that to come in coming weeks. But it all starts with you guys. And also, I want you guys to get a little bit more involved as well. So there's a lot of stuff out there at the moment, especially within the rugby YouTube community, where, and I'm guilty for, doing watch-alongs. I've piggybacked that idea off my good friend Brandon. So that's one thing that I really enjoy watching games. I enjoy chatting through games and things like that. But what would you like to see? The people watching this now, what sort of things would you like to see in future months? I'd like to make the channel as unique as possible. I'm trying to have a little bit of fun where possible. So if there's any ideas you guys have got of video ideas that you think you'd like to see, or me trying to do with these videos, then pop it down in the comment section here today, or, as I'm going to mention now, drop it into the YouTube section. So in the comments now, I've just put the link up to my YouTube channel. As we've got a little bit of time before the game kicks off, head over there for me. And if you haven't already, lend a little bit of a hand out and give me a subscription. If you were watching on Facebook, okay, thank you very much for coming along as well. But at the same time, head across, okay? The link is there. If you've got an active YouTube subscription, it costs nothing to do. It take you a couple of minutes, and we've got a few minutes before kickoff anyway. Just head across, hit that subscribe button, pop the little bell on as well, so then anytime any videos come up, be great to see you guys along. So let's have a look at some comments. Yoo-hoo! We did it. It's half term. We made it. It's been a long couple of weeks. For anybody that doesn't know, I am a give you 50p for a mention. As long as it's a fancy one. I don't want any rubbishy ones. Yeah, it's since we've come out of the lockdown, it's been a tough stint for people in schools. But we've done it. We've got through that. We've got half term to recharge the batteries now, and then we go again as we move in towards the summer. So recharge of the batteries tonight. A little bit of Italian water, posh Italian water. I'm very much looking forward to watching the game tonight, and looking forward to sleeping tonight as well. Let's see what I have missed. It's being shown on TG4 and EIR Sports over in Ireland. Is TG4 the Irish equivalent of S4C? Because I was looking to see if it was on S4C and they're not showing it. Well, they do show it, but usually it's a couple of hours later. Yeah, this was one that I was going to bring up as well. The Benetton head coach has now been named the head coach of Italy. So just as Benetton are starting to get their foothold, they haven't won a game all season. They won a few games now in the Rainbow Cup, in the build-up, obviously, to this week's round. And all of a sudden now their head coach is now going to be moved across to the Italian setup. Interesting. He's got good credentials from what I understand. I don't understand a lot. I'll be brutally honest. So I'm not going to give too much of my opinion on it. But it's a strange decision considering that Benetton are not doing that great. You know, their league form was poor. And considering that the amount of Italian internationals they had in there, it's hard. Oh, excuse me. It's hard to see how they are struggling as bad as they are. But fingers crossed that Italy can start making some improvements, because the pressure is coming on year by year now, where they're talking about whether Italy should drop out. I personally don't believe they should. I don't think that does anything for them, because it'll literally be a yo-yo effect. They'll be up and down, up and down. So I just don't think that it's the right thing to do, but I do think they need to put some support in place, and they need to work on a plan as to how they're going to get this Italian side moving forward. You know, they've shown so much progress and they've shown promise in some games, but they just fall off. You know, we looked at them at the start of the Six Nations, really good start, but then by the time we got to the Welsh game, they looked like they lost their minds altogether. So interested to see how he gets on in his new role. Yeah, TG4 is the same as S4C. Well, you can stay if you want, Helen. You know. Oh, put it down in the comments, Helen. How was the charcuterie board, we call it then? Or whatever you want to call it. Posh meat on a plate job. But yeah, so we've got 9 minutes until kickoff, and the coverage hasn't started. Well done, Premier Sport. Somebody said this to me. Somebody privately messaged me on Facebook, so they must have been watching my stream on Facebook, saying, why is there so much hate on Premier Sport? I'm not being funny. I've had to load it up now. So this evening, I'm watching the game on my laptop, because I've tried to stream the coverage to my TV about 7 or 8 times now, and it just will not connect. It will not connect whatsoever. Having absolutely none of it. The app is dreadful. Absolutely hate it. So why do I put so much hate on Premier Sport? It's because it's rubbish. Really is rubbish. And then all of a sudden, just as I think, oh, well, you know, if enough people say this about it, then perhaps they won't get much coverage next year. And then boom. Top 14 now being shown on Premier Sport as of this weekend. So great. That's all we need. But great news in the fact that in terms of the Six Nations, because I've so much to talk about since we came on last, that Six Nations is not going behind the paywall, so it's remaining with the fans, as they call it. That's amazing news. And obviously, from a Pro 14 perspective, that there's going to be more games on free-to-air TV as of next season. So fingers crossed, that means that a lot more people can get involved in the game, because I found an interesting tweet, and if I can find it, I'll flag it up later on. Somebody saying that if you are a rugby fan who watches like all the major leagues and all the games that they can, your current subscription costs alone total probably about 82 quid a month just to watch rugby on all these different channels. And they wonder why the sport isn't getting the attention that they want. You look at like sort of the Premier League, it's in two places. It's either on Sky or BT Sport, with more emphasis nowadays on BT Sport. I just think they need to make a decision, and they need to go with it, as in, right, if Sky are going to do it, then Sky does the majority of things. I understand that they can't put all the games on at the same time, but at the minute, there's far too many little things that people have got to pay. We look now, used to be able to get Super Rugby through Premier Sport, through Sky Sport. That's now been outsourced again, so you can't watch the Super Rugby Aotearoa or the Super Rugby Tasman, whatever it is that it's been changed into now. Can't watch that on Sky anymore. That's now on a subscription service. I think it's £35 for the entirety of it. And that's not even like an upfront cost, and you only get it for the tournament. So it's 35 quid to watch it all. It's just difficult. It really is difficult. And as a fan, you try and like watch as much of the sport as you can, but at the moment, it's just really hard to be able to follow as much of the rugby as you'd like to. Then, lush deal. Any left for me? No. Okay. It'll be a mess when when the top 14 goes on it. I just don't understand how they've been able to do it. I really don't understand why top 14, a brand with so much money behind it, has gone, yeah, do you know what? That's a really good idea. That's what we'll do. We'll give it to a company that has been complained about all season by people in a much smaller league. What a wonderful idea. Absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. I just do not understand it whatsoever. But the coverage has finally started. So 5 minutes out from kickoff. Whoop! So get your thoughts down in the comments. Let's see what the scoreline we've got down as tonight. I'm going to go for... I couldn't call myself a Blues fan if I didn't say it, could I? I'm going to go for Cardiff Blues to win by... Ooh, here we go. Ooh, that's loud. Cardiff Blues by... I think it's going to be quite an open game. I'm going to say 38 points to 35. So there's only going to be 3 points in it, I think. So, classic Premier Sport. We've just got their screen and a bit of music in the background, but never mind. Hello, ma'am. Sorry I haven't seen you so far tonight. I've been a busy boy since I got home. Been a busy boy. The AI Sports channels are coming to an end soon over here in Ireland, so I'm not sure as an Irish rugby fan how we're going to watch rugby next season. Oh, let's hope it's not Premier Sport, mate. I just don't... The thing is, at the moment, with the growth of the game going the way that it is, more South African sides are going to be coming involved soon. They're trying to reach more of a global audience. I think they've got to start looking towards one of the bigger promoters. Whether BT is going to be difficult now, because considering that they are set up with a predominantly English casting team, presenting team. Sorry, I think that's going to be difficult for anybody to try and get in on that. Sky is an option, but again, Sky is extortionately expensive. So I think for the sport that rugby is, in terms of it needs to regrow and re-reach as many people as possible. I don't think this is probably the best way to go about it, but we'll soon find out. Fingers crossed, you'll be able to watch it anyway, man. Whatever channel it is on. But we are here, Thomond Park. I think there's some fans there. I can't tell at the moment. But very much excited to see how this game goes. I've been looking forward to this game all day, even though a little bit nervy, but at the same time, I think it's time that the Blues, you know, we've picked up 2 wins out of 3 against Welsh opposition. Now we know we did just scrape past, and I think that'll be a concern for Dai Young that he would have been working on since the last time out. Would have hoped that the Blues can compete for the full game. You know, they flew out of the traps against the Scarlett, and then the wheels very much came off in the second half. The Ospreys game, I don't think the wheels were ever on for them to come off. So I think it's really important for the Blues now that they, as third-time hat-trick, make sure they stay in the fight for as long as possible during this game and put as much pressure on Munster as they possibly can. So let's have a little look if we can get the match center open, ready for this game so that I can put the scores up. So it's 2nd place versus 7th place. That doesn't sound right. Don't know why. So let's just pop that in. Oh, we're not getting. There we go. The Georgia test for the Springboks will be from the 7th and 9th of July. So they're not giving themselves a lot of time before that first test against the Lions. Then that's an interesting one. I hear RTE has been said for Ireland. Again, I'm not massively up on my Irish TV broadcasters. Is RTE similar to my sort of ITV or something like that? I'm not really up on that. You'll have to let me know, boys, because I'm absolutely clueless when it comes to that. Oops, a daisy. So Andrew Brace is refereeing the game this evening. And fingers crossed. That's a bit better. So hopefully that'll change to the score shortly so that we can keep you updated. But like I mentioned, this is just a watch along, guys. It cannot show the game for copywriting reasons. So we are underway. Jared Evans, Blues playing from right to left in this first half. And the ball's collected in by CJ Stander, who immediately looks to make yards and runs straight into the chest of Willis Halaholo. Craig Casey sets up a pot of forwards out to his left. And we are underway and moving early in this first half. Outside the 22 years, so you'd imagine that he'll go to the box kick. And it's collected well by Hallam Amos, considering the oncoming traffic that he had to deal with there. Thomas Williams looking to get that ball away quickly, but it was just a little bit scrappy. So off we go. Christian Dacey taking the ball into contact just over the halfway line. Thomas Williams having to go digging for it, wasn't they ready for him there? But Thomas Williams already looking for that space out wide. Seb Davis with the Fijian ball in one hand. Movements again always fills you with dread when the player carries the ball like that. But great angle coming in there. And Domachowski goes over the 10-meter line. And the Blues already on the front foot here. Jared Evans with a short pop pass out to Dylan Lewis, runs straight into CJ Stander. Makes a couple of yards, but CJ Stander's got in the wrong way there. Unfortunately, though, the way that Dylan Lewis has fallen has allowed him to stay there. But space on the outside, Jason Harry's taking long strides, passes back inside. Josh Adam just couldn't quite get his hands to it there. That was a glorious opportunity early on for the Blues there, and they've definitely come to play. Just a little bit of a too hard a pass for Josh Adams to collect there. So Craig Casey goes to his left boot and clears for the touchline and makes very, very good touch. And Munster will be glad of that because the Blues have come out at them and they really want to attack early on in this game. Lovely to see Hallam Amos up in the line. And we mentioned before the game started, he would play a pivotal role in exploiting those wider out defences. And straight away, they tried to create the overlap. And Neely put the Blues in for a very early try inside 2 minutes. But as it stands, the Blues have a line out on the halfway line. It's collected at the front by Corey Hill. And the Blues are off again. Ben Thomas with a short pass into James Ratty. Christian Dacey comes around the corner for the second carry, bumps off Rory Scannell there, and now the Blues are off again. Lovely short pass into Halaholo. Thomas Williams is floating around in the midfield, runs a switch line, and the Blues could be in for the first try of the game here. It is down as a try. They're going to go back, I think, and look at the pass that put Halaholo through the hole. But my gosh, what a try that was, if it is. They definitely have come to play this evening. They are going to go back and look at it. I think that's flat. I would say that's a flat pass, but that's superb thinking from Thomas Williams there. He could see the Munster defence tracking back was drifting, so that's all he had to do was run a different line and cut back against the grain. It doesn't look as though we've gone to the TMO because Jared Evans has gone straight to teeing this one up. So I think that it's been given. It has. No TMO review, so the Blues are 5-0 up. Great start for the Blues. Fantastic stuff. So have we got a score for you guys? Yes, we have. Wonderful stuff. I thought I'd do it a little bit different this evening and try and there we go. So Munster are 7-0 up against Munster. The Blues, it'll update in a second. The Blues 7-0 up against Munster early on here in this game. But what a start for the away side. That's just what they would have wanted coming into this game. 7-0 up. Early start. Could have scored another one early on, but took that opportunity and take an early lead out at Thomond Park. Seb Davis claims the restart, reaches high up for it, and the Blues have comfortable ball now as they look to their exit strategy. Ben Thomas standing short to Thomas Williams' right-hand side here. Looks as though we're going to a box kick. But the referee has given the scrum to Munster for Thomas Williams taking longer than 5 seconds. So as long as he's consistent, I'm happy for that to have gone ahead. But I want that needs to be consistent because if he's going to give... Because that happens so often in games. You know, if he's going to give that against Thomas Williams there, he has to be on the ball now for the remainder of the game. So, handing the ball to Munster here with a scrum around 5 metres outside the Cardiff Blues 22. Blue scrum going well last time against Scarlett, so they'll hope to carry on that rich vein of form against Munster this evening. But we have our first pause, and we will reset the scrum again. What a start for the Blues. Good evening, buddy. Hope you're well. Check out Sexy Scoreboard. I know, mate. All singing and dancing here tonight. But that looks good to me. Plus, a Rugby World Cup could happen after 2024. It's being talked last week, so you might get Cardiff versus Hurricanes. I'd love that. I'd absolutely love that. I'm going to look into that. Should get a ball tracking from a betting website. Now, I did look because I saw you doing it last week, and it looked very, very fancy, and I wanted to get involved in that, but I couldn't find one that was showing this game. So if you can find one for me, I'll have a look at it and see if I can swap them over at halftime. But I'm happy to see the scoreboard as it is at the moment with that wonderful score line of 7 points to 0. But we're just playing silly resets now. Silly resets. All the big boys having a break. I used to love it. Especially on a cold day. If it's a reset, you get longer to spend in the scrum. So I can't really see at the moment. We haven't been shown how Munster are lining up with this one. Watch out for CJ Stander coming off the back here, but also you could see a nice crash ball coming in from DLND here. If we can get this scrum completed. It's not steady at all. But the ball is out and CJ Stander goes charging into the midfield. Makes very good meters and he's into the 22 straight away. The speed of ball from Munster there was excellent. Looks as though he was held up by Josh Turnbull, but we go on and it is taken into contact by Cronin. Dialende bumps off the first tackler and is brought down by the ever-present Josh Turnbull. Jean Klein's the next man carrying up. Munster guy going straight off his feet there, but seems to be ignored nowadays. That straight off the feet there, and I'll be honest, I was sort of 50-50 on that. I was just about to say that it looked as though both of them has moved out of the way of the carrier then. But penalty to the Cardiff Blues, and they'll be relieved of that because Munster were building up some speed and they were making yards every carry they made there. So good for the Blues now that they can clear their lines and start another attack. Hopefully we see Thomas Williams with a bit of zip to his pace rather than zip to his pass rather than dawdling like he did last time and giving the ball away. So Jared Evans clearing here to the left-hand touchline and takes play midway between the Blues' 22 and 10-metre line. So we'll restart here with a line-out. We'll start with a line-out to the Blues. Taking their time into this one. Having a chat to the referee here about something, Thomas Williams. So ball is claimed at the rear of the line-out, and the Blues just look to clear, look to make yards, and it is collected down by Andrew Conway. Ball in two hands, looking for those options, takes play up to the halfway line. Carberry with a lovely flat pass out to Dialende, who's got a 2-on-1 on the outside. Jason Harries did so well to read that pass there. He just drifted off Dialende at the last minute after he passed the ball, and the Blues are off. But we're being shown the replay here. I think the Blues, play is live. Munster bringing the ball back. Obviously, Blues must have cleared. Mike Haley takes the ball into contact, takes play midway between the 10-metre and halfway line inside the Blues half. Forwards carry up Craig Casey with a nice flat pass out to Wycherley. We'll go Wycherley. That sounds a bit better. Carberry goes to the up and under. Looks a little long, but it just drops outside the 22. A good slap back there, but Dialende couldn't pick that one up off his toes. So scrum to the Blues on their own 22-metre line. It was one of those there. It was a really strange one. It looked like it was going to be too far, but then all of a sudden it just dropped perfectly outside the 22. Cheers, bud. I'll have a little look now. I'll get my phone and open Discord up now. I really dislike the way they're refereeing with the Champions Cup final with Wayne Barnes calling everything in Luke Pearce's year. I agree that the red card was given to La Rochelle. I'm with you to an extent on that because I think so many times in the past that referees have missed things and it's happened right in front of touch judges. I don't agree. At the end of the day, they are assistant referees, so they are assisting the referee. And I think it very much should be a thing that unless he asks for the assistance, then they stay out of the way on the touchline and they don't interfere. But I think Luke Pearce did a good job. I think it was a difficult game at start. You know, it was very to and fro. You thought Toulouse were being destroyed up front, but yet every time they carried the ball, they were making yards. The Bottier red card, I think that's the reddest red card you'll ever see. And you know, fair play to Ronan O'Gara after the game. He said, you know, we're not complaining about the red card. What we're complaining about is our reaction to it. So fingers crossed that that doesn't sort of manifest itself further in the game. But Thomas Williams almost got caught out there. And it's a penalty to the Blues for offside. Perhaps that's why Thomas Williams had to resort to kicking off his left instead of his right. So now they get a free kick, a free play to take the ball down, hopefully inside Munster half and start to throw some attacks together again. But for Munster so far, promising an attack, but a few mistakes at crucial stages. As the Blues will take play down here. Nice kick by Jared Evans. And takes play down to the 10-metre line inside Munster's half, where they will look to exploit this attacking prowess that they've got in the back line, get Josh Adams in on the ball, get Jason Harries involved in the ball. And that's the thing I like about Jason Harries. He's very much, in terms of stature, like an Alex Cuthbert, comes off his wing looking for work. interestingly, with Alex Cuthbert leaving Exeter Chiefs, he's had a really difficult time down there. He's not managed to pull together the appearances he would have wanted to, considering the quality of the club that Exeter are. He would have wanted far more out of his time there than he actually got. But rumours that there are 3 Welsh clubs interested in him. And I'd say, to be honest, for the first time since they've rumoured the Blues with players coming in and getting involved, that I don't think the Blues will be a player that putting their hands up for him, unless they're going for a strength and depth. I don't think he'll consider. Well, it's interesting where it goes because, the Dragons are starting to build strength and depth in that wing position. Rio Dyer coming through the ranks now, and obviously they've got Jonah Holmes firing on all cylinders. Ashton Hewitt out injured at the moment. So it's struggling to see where he would fit, really, but it's good to see that he's looking at the move back to Wales. But we will soon find out. So the Blues set up their play here. Seb Davis almost getting through a gap there, but just knocking the ball on. And that's what I like about Seb Davis, is that he offers, originally when he first came onto the scene, he was considered a back rower. Been moved into the second row now. He's very athletic in his abilities. But he offers that around the field. He can pop up just off 10 or off 12, make a few yards through a gap. And I think defenses nowadays, they very much defend space. So if he can come from a position where it doesn't look like he's taking the ball and punch what looks like a little space there, then it could potentially come to fruition for the Blues. So, interesting, yeah. I think Christian Dacey is down receiving treatment. No, it's Corey Domachowski, sorry. Looked like a cracking hit on Dacey there, but fair play to him to spin out there and move on. There he is, Damien Dialende. Absolute tank of a man. Spoke to someone that went to watch a game a few years back. Now, I think it was the 2019 World Cup year. And said that he met him once. And apparently he's got a chest as wide as a fridge. So that just shows you just the absolute stature of the man. But, I feel for Domachowski, but a cotton wool up the nose, and for a big bloke, you want every possible way to get that air in. Poor man. So restarting play here, just on the Munster side of halfway, with a scrum to Munster. Lots of experience in that Munster front row there, especially at this level, but also on the Blue side. Christian Dacey, a lot of experience at this level in the league, and Dylan Lewis, who back in 2019 was very much Warren Gatland's number 1 tight head. Injury has played his part, and obviously now he's behind Thomas Francis at the moment. With Thomas Francis coming back to Wales, that would look more like it's going to be a direct competition now. So it'd be interesting. I say interesting a lot. It'd be intriguing. We'll use a different word. It'd be intriguing to see how he goes out. But the scrum is wheeling here, and it's deemed just to be a reset. No side at fault there necessarily. Also, the referee has understood. I think so too. I think they've got to go from players that are playing at the moment and playing well. You look at the other side, Lucanio Am. I don't know how much game time he's had since the restart. I don't know, because there's a couple of players that they mentioned at the moment. The one that really surprised me that was mentioned earlier on this week was Mornay Stein, saying that he would be up for a return. Now, how much of a kick would that be for the Lions if 12 years after he kicked the winning penalty in that second test, he came back and did the same to us again? Oh my gosh, it doesn't even bear thinking about. But Andre Pollard back fit, well, relatively fit. He came off the bench for Montpellier in the Challenge Cup final last week. Don't hear much about Elton Yanchis at the moment, but penalty to the Blues here. Andrew Brace didn't really know what to say, but the assistant referee saying that the tight end was bringing the scrum down here against Domachowski. So penalty to the Blues in the Munster half. I think it's a little too far out for Jared Evans' range, so we'll probably look to kick to the corner here. But a great opportunity for the Blues here to build that score. Just a shame that we can't look at taking the point here, but it's a lovely kick. and takes play out to around 10 metres away from the Munster try line. So great opportunity for the Blues here. Whether they'll go through the forwards, not sure, because with that exciting backline around them, I wonder if they'll go first phase here. But here we go. So line out is one in the middle by Corey Hill, taken down, and the maul is initiated. Christian Dacey at the back. Spun a little to the right here, but the main core of the maul has managed to stay together. To get their body positions correct here, Munster got to be careful at their points of entry. And the maul was moving. It's gone into Ben Thomas now in midfield. A nice short pass from Thomas Williams. Trying to get that quick ball there, but he was just running away from him there. Players' feet getting in the way of the ball. Another quick pass here. And James Ratty takes the ball inside 5 metres away from the Munster try line. The sun breaking through here, so we can just about see. And can't quite work out there. The referee has given a knock on. And he's spoken with his assistant, and apparently it is just a knock on. So, yeah, he's got two hands going for that possibility of an interception there. So Mike Haley be bitterly disappointed there that couldn't get two hands on that, because the Blues line was up flat. Hallam Amos was up. So it would have been a foot race then to see who claimed the ball in the return. So the scrum is set. I think we're around 15 metres away now from the Munster try line. Jason Harries is off his wing at the moment, talking to Thomas Williams. Interesting to see if he'll come off his wing looking for work. So, ball is put into the scrum. Clean-looking scrum so far. Craig Casey is pestering around Thomas Williams there. Puts his foot out, but Jason Harries takes that ball flat, goes straight at Joey Carberry. Thomas Williams delivers the ball. Josh Turnbull there, next man carrying up. Show and goal from Thomas Williams. Pops up to Corey Hill. Didn't want to run away from support, so he's taken the ball into contact. No roll away, so advantage to the Blues here. So hopefully there's 3 points on the cards, but hopefully more. It's gone behind the back to Jared Evans. Flat pass to Hallam Amos. Tacks the line really well there. Good variance of pass from Jared Evans so far in this game. Little pop-up to James Ratty. Little upright in terms of his approach there, but he's brought down inside the 5 metre channel. The forwards are there set and ready, and it's knocked on by Christian Dacey. So a penalty pretty much in front of the post for the Blues. And you wonder whether they will just take the point here. A visit to the 22, 3 points is better than nothing. Munster did very, very well to defend that there. But yeah, quite rightly so. The tight head's gone in there. Stephen Archer's gone in there then. He's latched onto James Botham before he's even turned to present the ball. So there's no clear release whatsoever there. But the tee is on. And Jared Evans will look to take the 3 points. I don't know whether it has already happened yet and whether it's updated. No, it hasn't as yet. So we're still okay at the moment. So the kick is over, from what I understand. When RG comes back from Munster, that'll be a monster side. I mean, the South African that is injured at the moment. Yeah. I did see that he was on his way back, but he hasn't managed to come to fitness yet. There was a couple of players that they mentioned on the Munster website. I was looking for the team announcement a few days back and couldn't find anything on it. And they were saying sort of the players that were still out injured. Conor Murray returning from a short-term injury. But back to matters at hand. Blues have claimed the restart, and it is 10 points to 0 to the away side here. Christian Dacey takes the ball into contact and is brought down midway between the 22 and the 10 metre line. Thomas Williams, box kick in, and it's a box kick to compete. So Seb Davis realises he wasn't going to get to the ball, so stayed and waited for the tackle and brings Mike Haley down inside the Blues half. The wraparound passes start, and it's a long, wide pass out to Conway, who kicks it out on the full. was no advantage or anything there. So I think it was just the wrong option there. DLND sort of puts his hands out as if to wonder, why didn't the ball come to me? So a little sloppy from Munster early on here. You know, I don't think they've gone past sort of 3 or 4 phases so far without making minor mistakes, which the Blues have to capitalise on. You know, Munster sides of old, Munster sides of present, they do not make this many mistakes throughout the game. They will click at some point. So whilst things are like they are, the Blues have got to try and take advantage. So little pop to the front of the line out. Josh Adams comes off his wing, attacks the hooker in the midfield, and takes play just short of the 10-metre line. Thomas Williams will wide pass to Ben Thomas. Goes to Jared Evans behind the back. Flat pass to Jason Harries, who chips up over the top. And it's taken in the 22 by Mike Haley. Brought down by Thomas Williams. Blues don't commit many to the ruck there. They fan out in their defence. And Craig Casey returns the box kick. It's a short one, so it's one for competing. Taken well by Jared Evans there, just inside the Munster 10-metre line. Goes to Domachowski, short pop to Christian Dacey, who finds a little space and returns it to the man that popped it to him. And now we're off. Bounces up for Josh Adams, who looks to try and find a little bit of space. Doesn't want to give away an accidental offside, so just takes the ball to ground. Ben Thomas with a lovely flat pass to Halaholo, who's out on this right wing. He's going to do well to stay in here. He's managed to keep the ball in play, and it is still the Blues ball, but Seb Davis is carried over the touchline. So well marshalled by the Munster defence there. But it's looking so good so far. The distribution from both Ben Thomas and Jared Evans is really causing Munster problems because they don't know which one to defend. If they stood on opposite sides of the field, Munster are really struggling to understand, you know, and the variety of passes as well. They pop in little short passes to people like James Ratty and Christian Dacey, who are out in the back line. They throw in long, flat passes to Hallam Amos, Jason Harries. So it's a real nice variance to the Blues' play so far. It's gone over the top and it's collected by Rory Scannell. Cronin takes the ball into contact. It's brought down by Seb Davis. Looked like it was the arm had slid up there. Craig Casey pleading with the referee there that man has now rolled away. So he's gone to the box kick. And another kick goes out on the full. So 2 kicks out on the full in the last few minutes. Again, another mistake which the Blues have to take advantage of. Craig Casey, perhaps it's because the mullet has gone. He's gone back to his short on top, not a lot around the back and sides. But yeah, see these players, they get rid of the mullet and expect to play as well as they did before. It's just not happening for them. But Van Grani will want to get messages down onto the field that they're making far too many mistakes and they're allowing the Blues to get a real foothold in this game. So, ball is collected at the tail of the line-out by Corey Hill, and they take up a small little maul here. Christian Dacey peels off. Jared Evans around the back. Josh Adams running a long arcing line there. Hallam Amos looked to get to the outside, but couldn't do so. So, we've got 2 knock-ons. One was by Munster as Hallam Amos tried to get the ball back in play. But the pace of Josh Adams there, he was happy to run that wide arcing run, just looking to see if he could catch DLND off pace and potentially put Hallam Amos in a space. But Hallam Amos did well there. You know, he cut off all of Jason Harry's space. He knew that there was nowhere to pass outside. So he popped it back on the inside. Even though there was nobody there, if Munster had picked it up, they'd have tried to take him into touch. But, you know, they were snatching at it. It's been knocked on. So the Blues will have the scrum 5 metres outside the Munster 22. So a really promising first quarter from the Blues here. Oh, I do apologise. Have they given it to Munster? Why has Craig Casey got the ball? Interesting. But Craig Casey puts the ball into this scrum 5 metres outside their own 22. Looks steady at the moment, and the Blues front row have locked that out nicely there. So a nice flat pass to Carberry, takes the ball out to the 22 and goes long, tries to get in behind Jason Harries, but positions himself well and returns the kick with interest. As he takes it down, can't call the mark, he dropped just outside the 22, so Mike Haley returns, and that one is in the 22. So Hallam Amos could go directly to touch here, which he doesn't, keeps the ball in play. So the proverbial ping pong has started. So we've gone to an up and under this time rather than a kick for territory. Jared Evans positions himself beautifully under that one and finds a pass to Jason Harries, who just sticks it as long and hard as he can down into that Munster 22. It looks as though, they've collected the ball. They don't want a 22 dropout. And it's kicked into touch. Potentially another mistake there, would you say? By Carberry not taking the 22 dropout and indeed aiming for touch, because now the Blues have got a line out around 5 metres past the 10-metre line. So they're around 30, 35 metres out from the Munster line here. Backs look relatively flat at the moment, so I think this will stay with the forwards just for a short while, and it does. Josh Turnbull reaching highest, claiming that ball. The maul is set up, but it doesn't seem to be moving anywhere initially. But as the Blues peel around the corner, they get a small amount of momentum. Ball is out now to the backs, so Ben Thomas takes it at first receiver, short pop to Halaholo, takes the ball down into contact. Thomas Williams arrives to distribute to the next man coming up, who's James Ratty. Again, he is brought to ground by CJ Stander and another Munster defender. Short, flat ball from Seb Davis, and he did manage to get his arms free again. Jared Evans, little short passes here, lovely from the Blues, interlinking the backs and the forwards. So, into James Ratty in the middle of the pitch here now. It's turned over by Munster there, and it is a penalty to Munster. And he's marched them back 10 metres for back chat. Not what you want to see. So a penalty on the halfway line, it looks, and he's going to have a chat to Josh Turnbull here. So 9 of you in so far, guys. Lovely to see you all. Welcome across to Rock and Roll Rugby. If it is your first time here, you are very, very welcome. Just ask a few things while you're here. If you are watching from Facebook, make sure to like and follow the page. And if you haven't done so already and you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, head across Rock and Roll Rugby, 2 Ys, head across there and give us a like and a follow on Facebook. Posts go up about any streams, usually the day before, or at least 6 or so hours before. So make sure you head over and get that done. And also, if you are watching on YouTube and it is your first time here, please, 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 there'll be a link in the description, in the comments if you scroll back through. Head across to the YouTube channel and drop a subscribe. It costs absolutely nothing to do. And considering the things that I've got planned coming in the next few weeks, now that I've got a little bit of time away from work to rest and recuperate, I'm going to get some ideas together. I've got a few videos that I'd like to make, so I'm going to have loads of videos coming out next week for you all. Really excited to do it, and I've got some exciting ones further than that as well. So make sure you are in and around the channel for when that happens. I'll be honest, I love watching South African rugby. I remember when I first started watching Super Rugby, I followed the Blue Bulls because I was just a massive lover. And I think at the time it was where Brian Habana was just coming on the scene. And it wasn't him that I was massively interested in. One of my favourite players of all time was Victor Matfield. I just loved how intelligent that man was on the field. So I started watching the Blue Bulls and following the Blue Bulls. I just like the way South Africa play. I think the fast-paced pitches in South Africa really do suit wide open, expansive rugby. As we say that, DLND comes on a crash ball and knocks it on without any oncoming pressure from the Blues. So their first real visit down into the Blues territory for quite some time now has resulted in the Blues turning the ball over. So, yep, if you haven't done so already, please, 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 can we head across and hit that subscribe button? Very grateful if you do so. We're on 74 at the minute. Come on, guys, we can do it. All right, 26 to go by the end of the Lion series. I'm sure we can do it before the Lion series starts. If you've got friends that would like something like this, then copy the link from the YouTube channel, send it in your WhatsApp groups, send it in your iMessage groups, whatever it is. Let's get as many people involved as possible. And like I mentioned at the start, if you weren't here then, I've got lots of ideas myself in the coming weeks and months, but if there's something you'd like to see, something that you feel that would interest you, something you would watch, then by all means, pop it down in the chat, pop it in the YouTube comments, and I will definitely look at them because I want you guys to be involved in the channel as much as I am. I want as many people to be involved in the decision making and the things that happen on the channel. I want you to take ownership as well. So please feel free to get your ideas down there. And if there's something you'd like to work on together, then by all means hit me up. Facebook's probably the best to direct message me and let me know some ideas that you think of, and I'd love to hear what you think. So we restarted blue scrum, and the blue scrum is moving forward, but Craig Casey's around very quick there. So Blues ball inside the 22. Munster trying to disrupt. Jean Klein making an absolute nuisance of himself. And Munster have turned the ball over. And Andrew Brace has marched the Blues back again. The Blues have got to stop back-chatting him because he is just going to keep walking them back. So this is a massive opportunity here. They're probably going to go to the corner. So they've kept it tight. Thomas Williams was very, very slow off the base there. I think he's got to realise now that Craig Casey is going to be on him every time he gets his hands on the ball. So he needs to make sure that he's very mindful of when he gets that ball away and where Craig Casey's positioning is. But Munster have won their own line-out ball and they've set up the maul. They're trying to get it to spin around now as the maul splinters, and their forwards come charging through. Very, very easy try. And Niall Scannell dots down for the first try of the evening for the hosts. It was very, very easy in the end. And the Blues have to realise that Munster in that position is 99% of the time it's going to result in a try. So they have to be on the money with that. They've got to keep their discipline better. If that lineup was 10 metres back, then perhaps they don't score off the driving maul. But the ill-discipline and back chat to the referee has made sure that that they've ended up being punished. So we talked about the amount of mistakes they've made, but also we've got to realise one chance, one try. So the Blues are going to have to get back up on the horse straight away here. They've got 9 minutes before half-time in a half where they've been the better side. They can tighten up their discipline and they can keep things moving forward in terms of their backline, then I'm sure that they will cause more problems this evening for Munster. But the kick is successful from Carberry. It was a lovely strike straight down the middle, and it is 10 points to 7. Joey Carberry, or Toby Carvery, as my dad likes to call him, with the conversion there. And I don't know, is he the man to replace Johnny Sexton at 10? I know he's had his injury worries, but you've got the likes of Byrne, or the Byrne brothers, you should say then, at Leinster. You've also got the likes then of Burns at Elsta. Dare you say Paddy Jackson at London Irish as well? Do even mention his name within an Irish conversation? But Scannell, he was in and amongst that Irish setup and for some time, and he made the bold move to step away from Leinster and take up a role with Munster so he could get more time at his favoured position. Hasn't worked out for him as such yet, but it definitely could in the weeks and months to come. But back underway, and the Blues attacking here around the 10-metre line. Josh Adams looking to get the fend going, but just couldn't get away from that drifting defence. Dylan Lewis brought down by 2 Munstermen there. And I can see that coming there. Straight in from the side. The discipline is starting to slip for the Blues now, and this is where they tend to drop out the games. Their discipline really, really lets them down. So Carberry goes long, and it's a very, very good kick. Very good kick. Around 15 metres out from the Cardiff Blues line. And again, you'd imagine that they're going to go, especially with that man that's in shot now, if you're watching the game, Graham Rowntree, big forwards fanatic. And he will be saying to their boys now, we get tight, we get low, We had success from the last driving line out. Let's do the same again as we go into the last 7 minutes of this first half. So line-out is secured at the front by Jack O'Donoghue, but this time they go out wide. DLND carries into Christian Daisy, makes great yards, 2 yards short of the line. Nice flat pass goes through Thomas Williams. That was far, far too easy. Far too easy. This is what I said. If the Blues stayed in the fight, they would compete. So far, they've switched off. And this is where Munster are going to come at them. Witchersley, very nice try there. Picked out the shorter man and the weaker man in Thomas Williams, and he went straight up and over the top of him for their second try in the last few minutes. Stems from poor discipline from the Blues. And you've got to say, he literally picked his head up. He was going to try and go wider, but then in the end, he decided, right, I'm going to go on the inside here because there's a scrum half that I can run over the top of. Made it very difficult for him, Thomas Williams, to be fair to the lad, but unfortunately has resulted in a try. And for a half of the Blues have dominated, they are now behind. So Toby Carvery, Joey Carvery lining up the conversion from out on the right-hand side here. Oh, right. Got a few comments I've missed out on you. Hi from Switzerland. Wow. Thank you very much for joining. And an Ulster fan. Oh. Did you catch that last comment that I mentioned then? Yeah. Very welcome. Thank you very much for joining. And welcome to Rock and Roll Rugby. I would like to see you do a burlesque dance, cashing in my shares on this. Mate, not a chance. Oh, I can't. I was in your chat last week for the final on Friday night, and I came out of it thinking, my gosh, my head is properly cooked. I say the Bulls will be the side for South Africa in the final in Italy. So far, so good. I think they're very, very good. And obviously, they're getting their big guns back now. Dwayne Vermeulen back, Monet Staines playing. They've got a really good chance now to push on and pick up a piece of silverware from a season where they haven't really competed in anything. Blues playing like the whistle has gone so soft in contact. Really, really bad. Not impressed at all with our last try that was given. But we're back underway. And Munster have the ball and they go to the up and under. And fair play to Conway. He had no interest in actually catching that ball there, but he just got in Jared Evans' eye line. And now the Blues again, deep in their own 22, and they are under massive pressure here. This is where the swing could come, because the Blues, for as good as they've been, they haven't taken their opportunities, and now Munster can take a third try here, being just a few yards out. So it's very difficult times for the Blues here now. Time to switch on, time to start thinking about what you're doing in attack and in defence. Because so far they've focused so much on the attack, the things have sort of fallen apart elsewhere on the field. So will they go to the driving lineup? They varied it last time. They brought the LND in on a short ball. It's gone down to the front and they've gone to the driving line out. Initially stopped well by the Blues. So there's one pause. The remainder of the pack splinter around that is absolutely shocking. It is like the Cardiff Blues have forgotten how to defend a maul. Wow. 3 tries in 8 minutes from Munster. The Blue, I don't know what Dylan Lewis is doing there. Get in there and smack that maul, because you were stood there, and then when the try is actually scored, then he joins the maul. That is poor. And for Dai Young's perspective, he will be seething at halftime. They have thrown away this game in the last 10 minutes. And now they find themselves 9 points behind with the kick to come. Could be 11. What a shocking few minutes from the Blues. I don't know how you feel if there's any Blues fans in the chat. But for me, this is probably the worst few minutes I've seen us play in weeks. I understand that when a side start applying pressure, then things can start to go awry. But there's just no sense of cohesion there whatsoever. Very poor. Very, very poor. But fair play to Munster. They've taken their chances. And Carberry, with a nice delicate dink, takes it to 21 points to 10. So from being 10-3 up, the Blues now find themselves 21-10 down. And that's just how quick Munster can turn it on you. Like I said, they're not going to make mistakes for the remainder of the game, so they had to take their chances, and unfortunately, just didn't do so. So now they've got to put the pressure on Munster from this kickoff and start to actually build back down in Munster territory. So ball is collected by Jean Klein from the kickoff. And the momentum is massively with the hosts at the moment. So I think the Blues are almost hoping for that halftime whistle to blow now. So Craig Casey delivers to Joey Carberry, puts a little up and under up. The Blues defence is very narrow. And again, Jared Evans is left defending in the backfield and has lost that ball in the air. Blues are ending up are out of the contest at the moment. They're just not competing at any way, shape or form. Good hit there in the midfield. Jack O'Donoghue trying to wrong foot Halaholo. In the end, just goes up over the top of him. Short pass to Carberry, goes back to Scannell. Nice wide pass out to Conway, who's got a little bit of space on the wing here. Finds himself going on the inside and is brought down by a flailing arm of Thomas Williams. Well protected. They've got to try and stem the flow of this Munster attack at the moment, because they're just and that's a lovely bit of pressure in midfield. Nobody pressing up on that ball at the moment, though. And I thought that would have been a turnover to the Blues there, but clock goes red. And just as that happens, the halftime whistle blows, but a little bit of fisticuffs here, a little bit of cutchin, grappling, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what's happened with the sound here on Premier Sport. The commentary's fine, but the actual pitchside commentary is awful. Pitchside volume, is awful. But it's halftime, whistle's blown, and the boys go into the tunnel. I think the Blues need to stay out there and have a chat to each other before they go in, because that last few minutes there, shambolic. Absolutely shambolic. My bad. Sometimes I get overexcited. It's fine, mate. That's fine. It's Friday night. We're allowed to be overexcited. I would use Cooney and Harry Byrne, because Cooney can kick. And Harry is the first time I take the pressure off him if Cooney was there. Seems that there's no possibility at the moment. There's, the Cooney conversation seems to be very much it's not happening. Not happening whatsoever. Cardiff defence got the Blues. I just don't know what's happening. The Mole defence was shocking. Brandon, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well. How's the game going so far? First 20 minutes, mate, I'd have said you'd never believe it. Blues actually looked like they were going to put some real pressure on Munster. And then they self-imploded. And it's gone Pete Tong ever since. But here we are. I'm loving all this exposure I'm getting you. I hope it doesn't charge me for ad space. Oh, fair play to you, mate. Do make me giggle. I laughed all the way through last Friday's stream. It was good crack. Fair play. I'll drop a link to Rugby Geek's channel now down in the chat. He did both finals last week for the Challenge Cup and the Heineken Champions Cup as well. And yeah, just especially considering at times how crap the final was. It was a good laugh. But we have reached halftime. It is 21 points to 10 in favour of the home side. I'm going to take a quick break now because I brought 4 drinks up with me and I don't feel that's going to cover it. So I'll be back in a few minutes, guys. Don't go away. We'll be back very, very shortly with the second half. And we'll have a look at the stats from the first half. See you soon. Welcome back, guys, to the second half coverage here. It's half-time at the moment where the Blues are behind by 21 points to 10. At one point, led by 10 points to 0, but the change in momentum came ever so quickly, and Munster scored 3 very, very quick tries. 2 from driving line-out and 1 from a bit of pressure and then a pop just short of the line. So not a great start. Not a great start for the hosts. However, they definitely built into this game, and the experienced heads, CJ Stander, really coming to the fore here. So, Calix, how did that happen? Cardiff Blues were so in control. I know. I really, really cannot believe how poor we were in the second half of that first half. If we go in by 20-minute blocks, it's first 20 minutes, we looked so composed, we looked so threatening, and then all of a sudden, Munster found the weakness and they've exploited it in every way, shape, or form. I think our discipline has cost massively at times. Like we look at the second try, the line-out was 15 metres out, but then back chat from one of the players to the referee, and then it becomes a 5-metre line-out, and they score from it. And at the end of the day, that's what it's going to take. So, look at all this production. Mate, I tell you, you got to give the punters what they want. You got to give the people what they want. And a little bit of production quality is what it's all about. I need to update it, though, because in there I've got my old sub count, but I'm at a massive 74 now. So, come on, guys. Let's see if we can get to 80 by the end of the stream tonight. If there's somebody get your nan to get on her YouTube account, get her to subscribe to the channel, because we're nearly there. We're nearly at 80. I'm sure we can do it if we club together and get some people. And you've got younger brothers, sisters, get them subscribed. Get them subscribed. They absolutely love it. Everybody loves a Welsh bloke, and apparently it sounds like Rod Gilbert as well. So use that as well if you want to. Come and subscribe to the guy who sounds like Rod Gilbert and chats a load of shit about rugby. But, yeah, nonetheless, I think I'm just trying to make myself feel happier because it was a very sad first end to that first half. But what are we supping this evening, guys? What is our choice of beverage? Quite liked that last week when Rugby Geeks was asking the crowd what they were drinking. It felt like we were sat down in the pub, like he was going to go and buy me one. But yeah, I'm on the Italian speciality, bit of Peroni so far. But this is the last drop of that now, so that's about to go. Very sad. We'll head across to some Thatchers very shortly, I think. We'll see where we go. Right, let's have a look at some stats from the first half. Let's just have a look just how well the Blues were playing and then how poorly it went from there. So, halftime stats, 3 tries to the 1. Blues had more possession in that first half, and I think if you were watching the game, you'd know full well that they had so much of that ball in the first 25 minutes, and you just don't understand where it's all gone wrong from there. They've made more clean line breaks and they've beaten more defenders, made more offloads. But I feel like this is where it's going to come here now. We made less tackles, whether you believe that or not, and it's for positive and negative reasons. 54% territory. So I think I will agree that the first half hour really was played inside Munster's half. But then the last 10 minutes, they decided, no, do you know what? We're going to play in your half for a bit now. 7 missed tackles from Munster. Do you know what? I thought that would have been lower, and I thought the Blues would have been a lot higher. 89% tackle success for the Blues, considering they were one of the strongest defences in the Pro 14. That'll concern them. 3 turnovers, 1 in favour of the home side. And that was sort of one of the turning points where they won that penalty in the middle of the field and got that kick down to the corner. Carberry going for distance, going for broke and successful. And it's all gone a bit wrong from there. Not a lot of kicking gone on, it's mainly been up and unders, but this is where, penalty count, 5 penalties, and considering they had so much ball early on in that half, that's 5 penalties probably in about 10 minutes. But looking at the individuals, Jared Evans, leading point scorer so far with 5, 1 try for Thomas Williams, 2 for Niall Scarlett, both coming from driving line-out, so he's having a whale of a time. Carry figures quite low so far. Meters gained quite low. Offloads in terms of defence, Dylan Lewis leading with 5 for the Blues and 6 for CJ Stander. Not a lot to differ between the sides in that first half, but as you can see by the scoreboard, that switch that little change around last minute in the latter stages of that first half has really punished the Blues, and they find themselves in quite a dark place at the minute going into the second half. But wow, 10 of us in at the moment, guys. Very welcome to you all. Happy Friday night. Hope you're all doing well. I'm not at the moment, falling apart a little bit. But yeah, the Blues 21 points to 10 down at the moment to the Irish opposition. But second half coming up, and I'm sure Dai Young will rally the troops and get them ready for a big second half where they put as much pressure on as Munster put on them towards the tail end of that first half. I'm on the Stella for the life of me. I can't figure out why my wife has gone out. I'm not saying no more now, mate. I can't do Stella. I can't do it. It makes me go. I can't speak after it. But there we go. It's Friday night. What are we all doing this weekend? Are we staying in and watching some rugby, or are we finally going out? I haven't quite ventured back into a pub yet, but love to know if anybody's been. Has anybody been down to the Arms Park yet and sat out in outside of the Cardiff RFC clubhouse? I was tempted to do it for the final last week, but I'm only one jab at the moment, one jab down. So I'll wait until I'm completely superhuman before I venture out and try that. But yeah, looking good. Grant Swans, good evening all. My first stream on the channel. Welcome along to you, my friend. Coming from YouTube. While you're here, press that subscribe button, buddy. It's just down there. No, just down there. Can't see me because it's behind the scoreboard. Just down there. Give it a little tap, and every time I go live, you'll be knowing. So I'm really, really glad you're here. Nice to see you join the channel. Lots coming up, buddy. So make sure that you are in the mix, and we'll let you know what's happening as and when it comes around. I'm really glad you said it. Down the pub. It felt like if we were down the pub, that's what we were going for. If it was down the pub at the moment, I'd look at the score at halftime and realise that we were 10 points up, and now we're 21 points to 10 down. Be like, right, come on, let's get on the Stella. Can't get much worse. But yeah, lemon Thatchers. Give me your thoughts. I can't read through it. Lemon Thatchers. Really refreshing. Really enjoyable little beverage. I feel like I'm going to be in a terrible state if this game keeps going in the way that it is. Already subscribed. What a man. Follow this man's example. If you haven't subscribed yet, you're here and you haven't subscribed, then do it. Just do it. Tap that button. Tap the button. I'll drop the link in again. Because I want as many of you guys to join the journey as possible. We've got a big summer coming up with the Lions tour. Okay. So there'll be lots of stuff coming out around that. There we go. So there is the link. Stick it in your WhatsApp groups. Stick it on your Facebook pages. Stick it absolutely everywhere. Let's get as many people involved as we can. Mate, don't. I can't look at those two words. I'm already in spoons now, and I can see the sign 3 for a 5. I'm like, no. 11 points down at halftime. There was only one thing we could do. It's the only option at the moment. But we are not far away from the second half starting now. So let's hope that there is a change in fortune for the Blues. Oh, and as I say that, we're underway. So Munster playing from right to left in this second half. And they have the ball. Ollie Robinson is on for the Blues and is immediately given away a penalty. He's come on for James Ratty, so it's not a like-for-like swap. Ollie Robinson will go out to 6, and Josh Turnbull will shuffle across to 8. But penalty straight away for a high tackle from Ollie Robinson, the replacement. Oh, let's just hope it's not a kick to the corner. To be fair to Ollie Robinson there's not a lot he's done wrong. Scannell has ducked down into that. So there was only one result that was going to come from that. But, yep, they go into the corner. Carberry dinks it in, and they are around 10 metres away from the Cardiff Blues line, right at the start of this second half. So perfect opportunity for Munster here to get another try on the board. And you'll be honest, at 18 points down, if they converted it at 18 points down, that's nearly a 3-score game. You struggle to see how the Blues get back into this because they've just lost all momentum that they had gained in that early stage of the game. So let's hope that there's a bit of impetus here to try and disrupt this line out at least. Seb Davis goes down to the front, but they don't lift. CJ Stander is the man who takes it at the back, and they've tried to collapse it, and it is a penalty to Munster, but they still have the ball. Niall Scannell going on for his hat-trick now, but the forwards come around the corner, and it's pick and goes the order of the day. 4 meters out. Hefty clean out there from Jean Klein. And I think that's why Andrew Brace has stopped the play, because he would have given a penalty the other way otherwise. But penalty, sacking the line out. So you get the feeling that they'll go back to the corner again here. Silly from Ollie Robinson, really. If he's going to do that, he needs to make sure that the guys inside him haven't already committed to the maul. Because as long as there are no men engaged from the opposition, then it's not a maul. So they're more than entitled to sack it, but just not enough communication there. But 5 meters out this time. The Blues do compete. Corey Hill goes up. Better driving position from the Blues here. They've managed to stop the initial drive, but here comes the secondary wave. Have the Blues managed to get hands in that and disrupt? I'm not sure. Ball goes to ground, and it is a scrum to the Cardiff Blues. So they've done so well there to neutralise that driving maul, because you had a feeling that if that third try came, it was curtains for Cardiff. So big chance here to relieve some pressure, take play to at least around the halfway line and start building again as this second half goes on. Ooh, lots of comments to catch up on. Lots of comments. As a South African, I cannot wait for the Lions to mate. As a Welsh person, and I know we've got English people in the chat, we've got Irish people in the chat, I think it's exactly what people needed at the moment. Something to focus their attentions on. Obviously, it's just around the corner now. We've got squads being announced. The Lions boys met up this week for their first sort of shirt signing and sort of picture, media session. It just makes it all the more real now. And interestingly, I might not get it in this stream, but I'll show you soon. Something very interesting arrived in the post a few days ago, and it'll be something that'll interest you, Grant. Very interesting. Will they go DLND lineup move again? He's just so good coming off the back of that lineup. Really, really just comes in, absolutely catches defenses napping. Would love to come on and do a game with you at some time. Yes, love the sound of that. We'll hit you up in the Discord and we'll have a look and organise one. We'll have a look at the fixture list, at ones that tickle our fancy as we go in towards the sort of the tail end of the season now. Maybe some internationals. We've got internationals coming around the corner. Be a good one. Looking forward to the southern facing the northern side. I think it's about time as well. I know you've asked Grant, but I think it's about time. I think it's really important that we start to bring them in, because we had two South African sides in, but then they didn't come this year because of COVID. So it's really, really important to get that level of competition back. But back to matters at hand. And the Blues have won a penalty at scrum time. So for all the misfortune they're having in the lineup and the driving maul, their scrum seems to be functioning quite nicely at the moment. So penalty to the Blues, chance to relieve some pressure and to get the ball back as well. What a wonderful couple of minutes. I don't know what side. I think Domachowski is really, really starting to get the upper hand of Archer here. Really, really good start. So, well done. Oh, lovely kick by Jared Evans. He went for broke and has taken play inside the Munster half from basically his own try line. Lovely clearing kick. That changes the dynamic, I feel now. So, a replacement for Munster. So, Jack O'Sullivan is on for Tommy O'Donnell. Good to see that man back playing rugby. Receives an applause from the guys on the side as he comes off. Nice to see him back involved playing rugby, but we're back underway. Short ball into Ben Thomas, round the back to Jared Evans. Another little short pass as Halaholo gets the ball on the game line, starts moving forward. Short passes now, order of the day. Josh Adams with a step in and step out and finds himself making a half break. Now the Blues are coming in waves. Ollie Robinson, round the back. Flat pass to Dylan Lewis in midfield, coming on the charge. Thomas Williams is there almost immediately, and we're off now. Short pass to Ben Thomas. Lovely. Seb Davies around the corner. Hallam Amos inside him. And the ball inside, and it's going to be the second try of the night for Thomas Williams. Great stuff. That is what the Blues can do. In open play, exploiting left and right with Ben Thomas and Jared Evans. What a fantastic try that is. Brilliant work from the Blues. And again, looking at that, I mentioned him in the first half. All comes from Seb Davies. You know, he comes. He's almost stood directly behind Ben Thomas. And the defence is not thinking about him whatsoever, because initially to them, it looks as though he's only there to clear the ruck out. But then he comes back around and he finds that little bit of space. Ball inside to Hallam Amos. And again, the ball inside to Thomas Williams, who runs a very, very sensible line. And he's over for his second try of the night. Brilliant stuff from the Cardiff Blues. That's what we wanted. That's what happened in the first 20 minutes, Brandon, if you're still in the chat. But this is what we want to see. Cardiff Blues, wide open, expansive rugby at its best. So Jared Evans with a chance to add the 2 and cut the gap to a 4-point game, which on balance is probably a more fair reflection. We looked at the stats at halftime. It's a more fair reflection of the game. And he's got it. So 17 points now for the Cardiff Blues to Munster's 21. And Blues are back in this game. Lovely from Seb Davies there. Sold it with the eyes. Inside. Great passing. Great awareness of players around them. But it's the support lines as well. You know, look at Thomas Williams there. For his 2 tries this evening, we talk about Antoine Dupont and the running lines that bloke makes. He just gets on the end of so many good moves and scores so many tries because his support lines are so good. On his day, Thomas Williams is as good in terms of those running lines. I'm not, because I know I'll get absolutely swallowed alive if I try and compare Thomas Williams to Antoine Dupont. But in terms of the running lines he makes, you know, so many scrum halves will run breakdown to breakdown, whereas Thomas Williams, he could foresee that line break being made there, looks ahead and goes, right, I'm going to run this inside line, I'm going to hug the centre of the field, and I'm going to hope for the passes on the inside. So well done there. And the Blues have cleared to touch. Line out just for Munster now, just inside the Blues 10-metre mark. A lot of movement. Corey Hill manages to disrupt, and the Blues have turned this line-out ball over, and straight away the Blues have looked to attack. Willis Halaholo, goose step, wide pass to Jason Harries, hugs that touchline, and I think the Blues would take that because they've made nearly 40 metres there. Steal off the top of the line-out, Jason Harries on the wing. Would I like to see him maybe put boot the ball there and just turn the Munster defence and try and put some pressure on? But Corey Hill gets up, takes the ball away from Jack O'Donoghue, and straight away the Blues look to attack. They wasn't looking for contact. Jason Harries maybe think he had a little bit more space on his outside there, but was more than happy to accept that he was going into touch there because the Blues, with a net gain there of field position, and forces Munster back inside their own half. So, big first 8 minutes from the Blues here. They needed a big response, and so far it has been that. So, front of the line-up ball, Jack O'Donoghue takes well. Gone to the maul again. Blues not committing as many this time around. It's not moving that much in a forward direction, pretty much side to side. So Craig Casey steps in, goes to the box kick, and is swallowed up by Corey Hill. Jason Harries even takes that ball very well. And Hallam Amos doesn't look to kick, gives the ball to Josh Adams, puts him in all sorts of trouble there, though. And it is a penalty to Munster. You know, there's times where, and I think the Blues have been guilty of this so many times in seasons gone by, is that when it's on, play it. But when you are standing there, Hallam Amos there, he's about 5 metres in, just outside his 22, and he throws a pass that puts Josh Adams on his 22. Nobody outside him, 3 Munster men coming on to him. That ball needed to go down as far downfield as possible. But great for Corey Hill there. He puts Craig Casey under so much pressure. And the scrum half has stayed down. But a penalty in front of the post here, which Carberry is going to take the points, realises this is going to become more of a contest as the game goes on. So just while we're having a little look, let's have a look who's in. Ooh, lots of comments to catch up on. Lots and lots of comments. Beautiful try from Cardiff. I agree. This is this is like watching FIFA. No one can defend all out attack. It is a bit. This is going to be like a 50-all game at this point now. Cardiff managed to isolate all the tight forwards on one side of the pitch, and I think for like if you've watched the Blues at all, that's one thing they do so well is by using the dual playmakers Ben Thomas and Jared Evans on either side of the pitch. You just find forwards in no man's land at times. We'll come back to your comments in just a second, but we're back underway. CJ Stander takes the ball. I love CJ Stander. I would have loved to have seen him got a shout for the Lions, but at the same time, because he announced his retirement prior to the squad being named, I think he pretty much stamped his own card in that sense. Pretty much opened the door for Sam Simmons, you've got to say. So Craig Casey goes to the box kick. Jared Evans is hanging back there and knocks the ball on. I thought he claimed that then, but he has knocked it on. Stephen Archer comes away with it, and the Munster have made masses of meters from that. It is still knock-on advantage, and they've kicked it away. Looking for the corner. I think that's going to go dead. It is indeed. So back for a Blues scrum. And if Andrew Brace dares give this as a Munster scrum for the knock-on, I will scream, because they made a massive amount of advantage from that. So, pause and break here as I believe changes are about to be made. Thomas Williams coming off. That is an interesting decision. Lloyd Williams has replaced Thomas Williams after just 51 minutes on the clock, with 2 tries on the board as well, and the pace he's adding to the game. That is an interesting one. Peter O'Mahony coming on for Munster to replace Jack O'Donoghue. Let's hope he can keep his discipline tonight. But well done to Jack O'Donoghue. He's had a good game, and I've watched him quite a bit this season. He's really coming on nicely now and building towards a World Cup year. He could really put himself into contention. But all the players going over and giving a congratulations to Tommy O'Donnell. Been a long, long time and a long road to recovery for him. So it's really nice to see him back playing. You know, get half of rugby under your belt and you feel the world of good. But lovely setup here for the Blues. Both Ben Thomas and Jared Evans stood directly behind one another. Ball comes out from the flanker's feet there. And I think Andrew Brace will reset here. But the Blues really seem to have asserted dominance here in this up front. Really, really good in terms of their abilities at scrum time. Domachowski is having a very, very good afternoon at the scrum time. Very good indeed. So we get ready for the reset. So now it's Jared Evans and Hallam Amos stood directly behind one another, directly behind the scrum, giving them options to go one way or another, because Hallam Amos is a lovely distributor of the ball as well. So ball goes to the back of the scrum. Josh Turnbull goes left, picks out Hallam Amos, who indeed in turn passes to Ben Thomas with a show and go and takes play midway between the 10-metre and the 22. Lloyd Williams with a short pass to Corey Hill. Short pass again from Jared Evans into Domachowski, who comes like a charging bull. Josh Adams into out movement. Manages to keep his feet originally, but then manages to make moves just outside the 22. James Botham, the next man to carry. Lloyd Williams is in there straight away to get that ball out. Short pop from Jared Evans. Dylan Lewis's bounce off the first tackle. And then we move again out wide. So the Blues looking to try and isolate those loose forwards of Munster. Halaholo almost getting the better of CJ Stander there, but he just manages to cling onto his jersey, bring him down to floor. Jared Evans with a passer on the back to Ben Thomas. He holds his line in the midfield, brings Peter O'Mahony into the defensive line to bring him down. Now it's a 2-on-1 on the outside. Hallam Amos pops the ball back in field. No, he doesn't. He was in touch. But the Blues did very, very well there to try and expose some loose defenders out in the wild. But Lloyd Williams looking like he wants the referee to have a little look at this and how Hallam Amos was taken out of play. Oh, it's a head-on-head collision between Haley and Amos. That you don't like to see that, but both Haley's arms are down there. Andrew Brace is running across to the other side of the field here. perhaps he is going to have a look at this. The way Haley comes in is very, very dangerous there. His right arm in particular is facing the floor. His head makes contact with Amos. I don't know. I don't know where this one could go. I don't think... No, this is where I always find myself in hot water. I don't know if it's a red card, see, because his right arm is never even looking to wrap. His left arm is potentially, but it hits his body, and his head makes contact with his head. And if we remember back to when the Blues played the Scarlets down at the Cardiff City Stadium, Liam Williams got sent off not for a shoulder-to-head, but for a head-to-head contact. So when you watch that at full speed, it does not look great. Conway is fine. Great tackle from Conway. Amos is going down, but Haley also changes his line going down as well. Oh, I think Daly could be going off the field for a... I don't think he's going off permanently. I think he could be going off with a yellow here. That is a dangerous clear out. Really dangerous clear out. Let's have a look what he's saying. So yeah, it's just a yellow card. There was the mitigating factor that Amos was going down anyway. Conway done a great job of bringing him down, so that had to play into account. But ultimately, it's clumsy, it's reckless, and rightly so. He's going to go off for 10 minutes there, and hopefully, Hallam Amos is all right. He's going to go off for a head injury assessment. Wow, got loads to catch up on you. Yep, yellow. I think the La Rochelle one was definitely worse, but yeah, we're all pretty much along the line. Yeah, and I agree. Definitely from you, Grant. That it's difficult there. It is sensible, but at the same time, you've got a fear for the player. That's obviously he's had to go off now for a HIA, and right so mitigation. He is falling. He's been brought down by Conway, so rightly so. Yeah, there are mitigating factors there. But Blues get the penalty, and they've taken it into the corner. So a 5-metre line up for the Cardiff Blues now. Just once we get set up, guys, thank you very much for joining. Quite a few of us in the chat tonight. So let us know where you're coming from. If you're new to the channel, make sure that you like and subscribe the stream on Facebook. And so if you are watching on YouTube, okay, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the stream as well. It gets more people involved. Push it out to more people and get more people involved in the discussion. So the maul breaks down. So Halaholo has to come in to take that ball. Tries to get his footwork moving, but not really enough room there. So James Botham takes the ball and he's brought down and taken backwards as well. So the Blues really have to reset here now and build through the forwards. Domachowski makes good meters, goes through Carberry there. Lloyd Williams zips the ball out to the left. Jared Evans steps inside CJ Stander, tries to step back outside whilst he's got hold of him. Go back to the right. Ollie Robinson with a good line running into out. Lloyd Williams with a show and go, brought down, pops it up for Dylan Lewis, pops it back to Halaholo. Flat pass out to Josh Turnbull, and Josh Turnbull is through. Josh Turnbull going for the line, inside to Lloyd Williams, and the boy is over. What a finish for the Blues. What a try. Ball breaks down in midfield. Josh Turnbull runs straight, pops it inside to Lloyd Williams. It is a night for the scrum halves for the Blues. Lloyd Williams fresh onto the field, and he goes over for the Blues' third try of the night, and with a conversion to come, a chance to level the game. Ooh, who saw this one come in? Getting all excited, you know. They're having a look to see if there is a knock-on in the build-up. That looks fine. That looks fine. Nothing wrong with that. Josh Turnbull just turns, runs straight, pops it inside to Lloyd Williams. Try time for the Blues. Amazing. Amazing turnaround of fortunes. Although the third watch, there is a wrap. Oh, we're having a look at something. Let's have a listen. Oh, Omani could be in trouble for something here. Oh my God. What is Omani doing there? The ball is gone. He did this in the Welsh game as well. Look at this here. It's clumsy. He did exactly the same in the Six Nations game. What is he hoping to achieve from that? It's just clumsy. He doesn't make contact, but he tries to initiate it. Have a word with him at least. Oh, genuinely. I don't know why Omani plays so close to the line. He really is. It's just reckless. Looked like Lloyd Williams in 2011. God, I'm mad to think. Mad to think it was that. Oh no, 2015 when he scored that try against England in the World Cup. Amazing. And yeah, stupid from Omani. Reckless. He should know so much better. Plays the game so close to the mark. And I agree that rugby is a physical game and it needs, players like that to bring that physicality. But that's just stupid. Really, really is stupid. Sorry for that just then. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Blues are level. And Blues will still with that one player advantage due to the Mike Haley yellow card. So the game is back underway. Sorry to mention, I forgot to mention that Matthew Morgan has come on in replacement of Hallam Amos. I assume whilst he goes off for his HIA, hopefully he's all right. So Lloyd Williams takes the ball infield slightly, tried to create a better angle for the kick. Lloyd Williams, one of the best in Wales for this clearing box kick. Clean ball now. And away the box kick goes. And it's into touch around the halfway line. And I think that is what Dai Young would have been thinking, that this game, although Thomas Williams was well suited to the running aspect of it, it did need a little bit more management at times. And that's exactly what Lloyd Williams will bring. Maybe not the speed of ball that they'd be hoping for, but certainly far more intellect in terms of when to play and when to get rid of the ball. So hopefully now the Blues don't implode like they did in the first half, because they've had a very good 20 minutes to this second half. Niall Scannell throws in for Munster, goes short to the front to Jean Klein, and they set up the maul. Only a few Blues players in there to try and neutralise that initial drive. It is spinning around, so hopefully the Blues can try and get hands in there and disrupt. The ball has gone down to the ground, so they have to set up the ruck. Craig Casey gets the ball out. CJ Stander carries in, bumps Ollie Robinson off first of all. Ball goes around the back. Omani's the next man carrying. Casey with a short pop-up to Scannell coming around the corner, but well dealt with by the Blues defence. They go out to the right this time in hope of finding a few men on the outside. Stander spins and swirls and loses the ball on the floor in contact. Jared Evans just realises that the ball needs to go away and doesn't get the cleanest of kicks, but the Blues are now down into Munster's half. Ollie Robinson is in on the ball there, and unfortunately, I was just about to say Josh Adams is preventing Ollie Robinson from winning that penalty there. He's just got himself in the wrong position and affected the contest. So Ollie Robinson did have a cleaner run at the ball. But it's good for the Blues there. They didn't panic. They set up well in defence. But yeah, Josh Adams has prevented that from becoming a contest there. So penalty rightfully goes to Munster. Wychersley just taking a knee here for Munster. Looks as though he's about to be replaced anyway. I think it looks like Gavin Coombs is coming on shortly. He's on the touchline waiting anyway. Lovely kick from Carberry as he takes play to the 22 of the Cardiff Blues. Another change is made. Yep, Gavin Coombs steps onto the pitch in replacement of Jean Klein. Another of the South African influences here at Munster. So we're into the final 20 minutes. Game is deadlocked at 24 points all. Blues coming back for scoring 14 unanswered points so far here because Munster did get that penalty. But they've scored 14 points here in the second half to bring the game level. The line-out is won by Munster, and they tried to set up the maul. The Blues have neutralised that very, very early on, and I think Andrew Brace has asked them to use it. Ball goes out and brought down in midfield. Blues not committing too many to the breakdown. James Botham is in over the ball there, but is cleared out well by the Munstermen late on there. CJ Stander making great yards over the gain line. Pops it out to Gavin Coombs. Runs in upright into Christian Dacey. Holds him up, but eventually he is brought down. Turnbull went in there, but told not to by Andrew Brace because the ruck was formed. Potentially an overlap here on the right-hand side if the ball can get out there. Lovely bit of interplay from the forwards. Domachowski was in on that ball there, ref. Oh, good defence from the Blues. Very well disciplined. The ball is up. Munster got to be careful here because the Blues are sniffing a turnover and are trying at every possible opportunity. And it is a penalty to the Cardiff Blues. They knew that was coming. They knew that the Blues were threatening at the breakdown. And so they've gone off their feet to try and neutralise that threat because you've got threats coming from all areas. Domachowski loves a turnover. Ollie Robinson, James Botham, Josh Turnbull, all love a turnover in that. And you look at that last ruck where the penalty was given, two of those players were in that breakdown. So it's very, very important that the Blues continue to try and disrupt the Munster phase play ball. Really, really good there. Lots of pressure, lots of positives so far in this second half. So it looks as though the Blues are going to replace their entire front row here. Yep, so Rhys Carey, he'll bring lots in the loose. So Rhys Carey comes on. Dimitri Arhip, good to see him back, returning from injury. One of my favourite Cardiff Blues players. Been a great servant to the region since he arrived from the Ospreys. And Liam Belcher as well, coming on for Christian Dacey. So Blues have a line out just short of the 10-metre line. It is won at the front by Seb Davis, and the maul is set up. One stop called very early by Andrew Brace there, but rightly so. I don't think that maul is going anywhere. And the Blues go to the up and under. Josh Adams is hearing after this. Just put some pressure on and does so. Tackles his man well. Ollie Robinson tries to disrupt at ruck time. Doesn't affect the scrum half, though, so is allowed to do so. CJ Stander carries into Seb Davis. Holds him up, but knees with the ground. So Craig Casey goes to his trusty left boot and the box kick on the right-hand side of the field. Jared Evans coming across, tries to claim it. It's off the head, so it's not a knock-on. And now the Munstermen look to attack here. Not too many men being committed by the Cardiff Blues in the middle of the park here. Ball goes back to Carberry, who looks for some space, but only finds the hands of Jared Evans, who in turn will look to find some space downfield. Killing by his opposite man, Carberry, who returns the kick and keeps it in play. It's going long and low. Matthew Morgan goes back for that one. Returns the kick with interest. Takes the play up to the 10-metre line of the Cardiff Blues half. Another replacement here, or another two replacements here in the Munster front row. So I think Luffman and Knox are on in the front row for Munster. That's what I've got written down on the team sheet anyway. But who knows? Because I looked on the Pro 14 website earlier on for the team lineups, and according to them, that John Mulvihill is still the head coach of the Cardiff Blues. So, interesting one. So Niall Scannell throws in, reaches his man lovely at the back. Nice little move. It is a lot of movement, and in the end, it is knocked on. Lloyd Williams finds himself on the wing. Puts the ball down on the floor, and Josh Adams goes absolutely flying after this. Puts all sorts of pressure on Carberry. And the Munstermen now, on their own 5-metre line, look to play out the trouble. Disruption at ruck time now. No silly penalties from the Blues here, and they should have a good attacking position when Casey goes to the box kick. Will he keep it in field or not? Tries to curl it around, does a decent job of clearing, takes play midway between the 22.5 metre line. But look at Josh Adams' pace here. Leaves Craig Casey for dead. Josh Adams did have hands on that ball as well. So, Blues ball, get a call right here. The backs are lined up as if they're going to go off the top here. So Mike Haley is back on now, so it is back to an even game. Halaholo takes the ball into contact, and the play is set up around the middle of the field, but it is turned over. Oh, and it's knocked on. Yeah, and that's what I like. Andrew Price, they're saying, yeah, advantage is over because you have a 5-on-2 on the outside. So this game really hotting up, and we're in for a very interesting 15 minutes towards the end of this game. Let's have a look on some comments. Well, I just listened to the commentary there. Apparently, he hasn't got to let the man up. If he's going down to try and claim the ball, he hasn't got to let him up. I thought the same as you, Grant. I thought that he had to allow him back to his feet, but very good on that there. Imagine if the Blues didn't go to sleep. Oh, hang on. Imagine if they didn't go to sleep for 15 minutes. Can you imagine the scenes? Would be absolutely brilliant viewing. Really clever penalty conceded by Josh Adams. If the ball carrier came out quickly, Cardiff are short on numbers to the left. I think sometimes there is a lot of that in the game. You know, a lot of these like sort of professional fouls, as you call it them, because you know that you're going to end up under pressure one way or the other. But nevertheless, Blues restart the game. Jason Harries carries into midfield and his quick ball. I think the Blues have an overlap here on the left-hand side. Matthew Morgan, short pass to Josh Adams. Forward pass. That was a great chance for the Blues there. They managed to create the overlap on the left-hand side. But Matthew Morgan just giving the pass forward. Josh Adams could have held his line a little bit better, but he could see that that's where the space was. Just tried to get it to the outside as quickly as they possibly could. So, shame there. Nice little opportunity to keep hold of the ball. But the thing that I like with the Blues, though, is not so much they go for broke, but they go all out in terms of their attack, and they try and get as much out of each move and each phase that they can. So with that there, you know, one phase, bump up the middle, and then look to exploit on the outside straight away. None of this, you know, going through multiple phases. They look to take the chances as and when they arrive, but not quite working that time. But it has worked on 3 occasions this evening for the 3 tries and in other instances. So, scrum to restart the game. Casey puts the ball into the left-hand side of the scrum. Lloyd Williams pushes him over. Very nice there. But referees asked him to use it. Manages to get the ball away very well. Forwards still haven't managed to get across yet, so the backs have to go in to protect this ruck. Coombs carries into contact and is brought down originally by Josh Turnbull, but then just shepherded to the floor, we'll say, by James Botham. Craig Casey goes to that left boot. I think the Blues need to try and exploit that because he's, you know, when he's playing on the right-hand side of the field, he's reverting to his left boot to box kick. So put that pressure on him and make him try and kick off his right foot. Because for some reason, every time he's been given the opportunity to switch to his more comfortable boot. Just my thoughts. So ruck is set up just short of halfway. Munster try and disrupt. Lloyd Williams has to rush his kick in the end because the Munstermen managed to break through. And I knew Omani carried in, lifting the arm there. That was ridiculous. I don't know what Omani is trying to do here. Is he trying to get himself sent off? He runs into contact there and lifts his arm up into Turnbull. I wouldn't mind betting Turnbull uses his captain's challenge here because he lifts his arm up into that contact. You could see it just the way he did it. Wearing number 24, Josh Turnbull. What an absolute stalwart he's been since he came across from the Scarlett. Really impressive player. And the fact that he's being mentioned about getting back in the mix internationally, really promising signs for him at the moment. He will bring that leadership. He will bring that sort of that go forward that the Blues want. That the Blues want, the Wales desire. Wales looking throughout the Six Nations, they like to play off front football. And if there's someone you want to give you front football, it is Josh Turnbull. So with just over 10 minutes to go, Jared Evans lines up a penalty kick around 35, 36 metres out from the post. Pretty central. Little puff of breeze about. So let's see how he gets on with this one. Lovely strike. And it is over. Confident kick. He's turned around and walked away. So 10 minutes to go. The Blues take the lead. 27 points to 24. And it's all about their game management from here. They've managed the second half perfectly for the first half an hour. They've got 10 minutes to dig deep now. And this could be a very famous win for the Blues out in Munster. So Carberry goes long with the kickoff. It's claimed by Ollie Robinson. Comes into midfield looking for the support of his forwards. And the ruck is set up. An extra man needed on the Caterpillar. Make sure you get it away quickly, Lloyd, because Andrew Brace has had players once already this evening. Lovely long box kick. And takes play up to around the 10-metre line. I think the touch judge has been extremely harsh there. I thought that went a lot further than what it did. So, discipline is key for the Blues here. Absolutely key. Do not give away silly penalties. Do not give Munster the opportunity to get down into your territory and cause problems. Barron is on at hooker for Munster, and he throws into this line-out. Lovely little bit of movement again off this line-out, and it works this time. Players coming in and out, interchanging, but the Blues suffer it out, and they make their tackles. Belcher goes in to try and turn that ball over, but Casey gets it away nice and quickly. Blues fanning out now in their defence, making sure that there are no holes. Keep that defence solid and put pressure on the likes of Carberry, Dialende and Casey. Gavin Coombs carries in. Good carry. And a knock on in midfield, and that's the chink the Blues wanted. That is exactly what the Blues would have wanted here. So a great chance. Waste a minute or so at scrum time. Kick the ball deep with 8 minutes left on the clock. He's just looking at where the defence is. So, fantastic. Central field scrum, exactly bang midway between the 10-metre and the 22-metre line of the Cardiff Blues. Time is off. Blues players taking the knee, so we'll just have a little look. We'll come back and we'll look at some comments. Ooh, a couple to catch up on. How's the lemon cider? Looks a bit naughty. It's tasting a little sweeter now, mate. It is tasting a little sweeter. Dialende has never looked comfortable defending at 13. I was going to say, I didn't know, I was going to ask your opinion on that. I don't think Dialende has looked the most comfortable this evening. A couple of times he's received the ball coming on that crash ball line. I think 12 is his position, and I don't know why. They've got two very similar centres in Scannell and Dialende. But yeah, nice to see you guys having a chat down in the comments. And yeah, it's been a good second half so far, and I would say that as a Cardiff Blues fan. But in terms of the rugby being played, it is a far better second half than the first half ended from the Blues' perspective. But yeah, thank you very much for joining, guys. Like I said, if you're new and you're just joining us, you joined at a perfect time. The game hanging very much in the balance. The Blues with a slender 3-point lead. Scored 17 points since the break to reclaim the lead. So be interested to see if they can close this out. But if you are joining us on YouTube, make sure to like the stream so they can reach as many people as possible in the next few minutes. But then also at the same time, I thought that was a slice kick then, sorry. If you're joining on Facebook, make sure to like the page and to make sure as well, whilst you're here, to follow as well. So that way, every time that I let you know a stream is coming up or a video is going live, it usually goes up on Facebook prior to it going on YouTube. So that's your place to go for all stuff related to that. So Jared Evans claims the mark in his 22, sends a lovely long kick, 22 to 22 almost. Carberry claims it, brings ball almost up to halfway, sends another long kick. He drops just outside the 22, so pops it up. Matthew Morgan in a bit of space. This is what we want to see. Mighty Mouse. But it has been turned over. Not enough men at the ruck there. Peter O'Mahony goes charging up that 15-metre channel. One pass. Gavin Coombs takes the ball in contact. Sloppy from the Blues there. Belcher doesn't roll out of the way quick enough there. But CJ Stander with a powerful carry goes straight into Seb Davis there. Penalty advantage. There's 3 penalty advantages in this move. I think he'll have a word with Josh Turnbull at the next breakdown here. And when they've got momentum, Munster looks so dangerous. They're getting close. Big carries from big, strong men here. And there's the try. Coming from the replacement tight end, Kieran Knox. And Munster take a 2-point lead. So the Blues have to go chasing a try now in this last 5 minutes. Very good play there by Munster. You know, the turnover from Coombs was sublime. Right straight in as soon as he'd made the tackle on Matthew Morgan. And then straight from that, it wasn't a matter of how, it was a matter of when. And the strength of the Munster forwards carry them over for their 4th try, their bonus point try. And the Blues find themselves 2 points behind with Carberry to take the conversion, which you feel he's going to get. It's only a few meters short of the post. Unless Jason Harries comes up with another charge down like he did against the Scarlett a few weeks back. But Carberry nudges it over, and it is a 4-point game. So the Blues have to score a try to win this game. Nothing less, but plenty more, please. The discipline at times has cost the Blues, especially around their own try line. Rory Thornton is coming onto the field in replacement of Seb Davis. So the Blues have got 4.5 minutes now to try and rescue this game. CJ Stander claims that ball in his 22 from the kickoff. Can't go straight to touch now, so you'd imagine this is going to be hung up in the air. It's a long box kick. It's claimed by Matthew Morgan. And he gets that footwork going. Finds himself in a little bit of space. Ducks under some tackles. Still going. Pops it into Jason Harries. Another Blues are starting to move into the middle of the field. Handling on the floor there. Now that's cynical, ref. So, kick to the corner now for the Blues. Just over 4 minutes on the clock. This is the chance the Blues need. Players taking the knee. No, the Blues are going to a captain's challenge here. So it's Munster going for their captain's challenge. Interesting call. I'll have a look to see if we can see what it is, because all of a sudden my stream has stopped. This is not what I want. Well done, Premier Sport. Kicked me out of my game again. Where is it? There it is.
No obstruction is whole play. However, that's the worst thing. This is the high tackle for me, and that's why I'm sticking on my original penalty. But Munster don't lose their captain's challenge, because that's successful. Okay. Yep.
So what Andrew Brace has said there is the captain's challenge is successful. The Blues player has impeded and has stopped him from competing for the ball. However, the worst offence there is the high tackle on Matthew Morgan. So he's sticking with his on-field decision that he is giving a penalty to the Blues. However, Munster do not lose their captain's challenge because that was successful. So the worst incident that they considered there was the high tackle on Matthew Morgan. Hence, and I don't know why Peter O'Mahony is coming chirping up, because he's not the captain, CJ Stander is. Clock is off, so it is a penalty to the Cardiff Blues on the 10-metre line, and they've got to go for it here. They have to go for broke in the dying stages of this game. This is their cup final now. Nothing more than a win will count here for the Blues. And what a kick that is by Jared Evans. He's really gone for that there. Went for the banana kick and has managed to get that just a few metres out from the line. So it's time for the Blues now to dig deep and to get the win in this game for the first time in goodness knows how long out at Thomond Park. There we go. So it's time now for the Blues to repay that. The maul is set up. The backs are coming in there. If this goes down, it's not going to go much further than the current 5-metre channel it's in. The maul is moving forward again now, though. How on earth can you give that as a scrum to Munster? The ball is at the back. That's really frustrating. The ball is at the back, ref. You've got to let him play it. Using captain's challenge here. Again, the Blues are using their captain's challenge here because they feel that something has been done shouldn't have. So we're having a look at a captain's challenge here for the Blues, looking at an impediment at the line out. But with a few minutes left on the clock, it's worth using it now. Going into Hulk mode. I think this is that is a shocking call from the ref. And again, I think this is a case of the Blues are using it rather than not using it at all. And considering the stage of the game it is, they had to try it. I don't think this is going to be overturned here. I think it will still be a Munster scrum and the Blues will lose their captain's challenge. But I doubt that this is going to be overturned. So this is more than likely going to end up being a Munster scrum on the 5-metre line. The Blues have just got to utilise it. I think they'll try and keep the ball tight because there's just over 2 minutes left, so they'll probably keep it as tight as they can. Challenge is unsuccessful, so back to the scrum. And Munster have got just under a minute, just under 2 minutes now to see this game out. Blues have got to attack the scrum here. So this is their last chance now. Put as much pressure on as they can. All their energy, all their effort has got to go into this scrum in the hope of getting something out of it. Come on, the Blues. We can definitely do this. We've put so much into the second half. It'd be a shame to lose it at the end here. So come on. Pressure on at scrum time now. Munster lockout. CJ Stander comes away with it. Is chopped down low. And the box kick goes into touch. Just outside the 22. So this will be it now for the Blues. One chance at it. They have to go for it. Last chance saloon for the Blues. They've got to win the line-out ball. Will they go to the driving maul? I really don't know. So the ball is won by the Blues. Goes out into midfield. Matthew Morgan, pass to Josh Adams. Tries to go out on the outside. Keeps the ball in field. Back into Matthew Morgan. Starts sidestepping. Tries to get around CJ Stander, but is well tackled there. Turnbull makes the next carry. Dimitri Ahib carries into the South African DLND. James Botham, the next man to carry in. Munster not committing many to the breakdown here. It's going to take something special from the Blues here to exploit this Munster defence. Ben Thomas with a wide arcing run and makes yards down into the Munster 22. Nobody wanted to tackle him there. Some forwards on the outside here. Jason Harris carries. Another Blues are in the 22. They've made good yardage here. Corey Hill, the next man. The Blues have lost a few yards, but they still have the ball, which is important. Ben Thomas. Jason Harris with not a lot of space out and outside, but still makes yards through contact. Carey is the next man carrying into contact. Lloyd Williams waiting for that ball. Jared Evans, flat pass behind the back. Halaholo gets the feet moving. Matthew Morgan, Ollie Robinson catches that ball well behind him. But the Blues have just got to stay patient here. This is their last shot. The clock is in the red. Next time the ball goes dead, the game will be over. They're out on their feet here. Carey gets to the outside, but he's not well supported. James Botham spots a little gap. Josh Adams does well there. Thornton with a big carry, bumps off the first man, but is held by DLND around his ankles. Got to get the forwards in. The ball is slow now. Good carry from Rhys Carey. Is it going to be the power game to win this for the Blues? I think the Blues need to move away from this slow ball here. Sorry, I'm looking down. My stream has given up, so I'm watching it on my phone now. But they've gone to the Munster game, the game that they know and love. They've gone to the short pick-and-go game. Munster man has got himself caught, and it's a penalty to the Blues. So there's a chance. Ultimately, it is just, do they go for a tap and go? Because the Munster man will have to go back on their own line. It is a penalty. Centre field, in front of the post. The clock is in the red. They have option of scrum or go into the corner. Stander didn't get out of there quick enough there. Now, see, this is where I dislike the captain's challenge because CJ Stander knows he's in the wrong there. He's given the penalty away, but because they've still got their captain's challenge, he's just calling for anything, and it just slows the pace of the game down. So now we've got to look for the footage of this. And this is where I really do fall short on captain's challenge. So he's claiming that he's kicked the ball back in, which he has. And this is going to be it. He does. That's such a nitty call for it to be called on. It's borderline whether it's out or not. It's in line with the hindmost foot of the ruck. If it's not out, he's saying he can't put the ball back into the ruck. If it's not out to the ruck, then how is he putting it back in? Andrew Brace has had an absolute stinker tonight. He has been so poor. That is, and I know I'm probably saying that as a Blues fan, but if you look at that ball is at the hindmost foot of the ruck. It's a free kick, so they'll just kick it off here, and that'll be it. Blues' valiant efforts come to nothing as they come away with a losing bonus point, but that doesn't matter a lot in the grand scheme of things. They are out of the running in the Rainbow Cup now. Disappointing end to the game. Captain's challenge for me, got to go. What an absolute waste of space. The TMO didn't think so either, and that's, I think, the big thing is, if you're going to have the TMO there, he can't actually tell you, no, it's not out of the ruck, but it's poor, absolutely poor. Poor. Yeah, I'll be about, bud. I'm just going to go and grab some food in a minute, but I'll jump in after that. But nevertheless, okay, really good game of rugby. I think both sides really went at it. But unfortunately, the Blues fall short and they lose to Munster by 31 points to 27. Lots of positives to take for the game. But I think ultimately lots to work on. I think if the Blues hadn't fallen asleep for 20 minutes at the end of the first half, I think that it would have been a far different outcome. But ultimately, it is what it is, to quote Eddie Jones. Still a good game. The ref tried his best to ruin it. Andrew Brace had an absolute stinker tonight. Absolute stinker. But then again, that could be me just being biased. But a couple of you guys are saying it as well. So ultimately, that is where we're going to leave it tonight, guys. Okay, thank you very much for joining. We've had decent viewing figures all the way through tonight, so thank you ever so much for joining. It's been my pleasure to have you along for the ride. There's a lot of new people in the chat tonight, and I look forward to seeing you guys in future streams as well. But that is where we're going to leave it. Thank you ever so much for joining us. We'll see you again on the next one. And for now, goodbye, good luck, and we'll see you soon.